world gone insane. An upside-down civilization cannot be real. A world of madness and terror.
It's the Dana Gould Hour.
Oh, we're coming around the bend into the long, dead stretch of a long, dark, cold, wet winter. But fear not, we are here to help. We have an astounding episode for your listening pleasure, but let me warn you, it has some potty mouthery in it. To begin with, from Kids in the Hall and Newsradio, Dave Foley is here. Dave will be joined by his wife, the lovely and talented Crissy Guerrero, as well as Vacant Lot's Paul Greenberg and his lovely and talented wife, Jackie Harris Greenberg. The four of them have a new podcast called Don't Say Cunt. Yep, that's the title, and we'll be bandying that word about more than once. So learn to enjoy it. But all of these people are dear friends and incredibly hilarious. The segment here is hilarious. Their podcast, I can tell you from firsthand experience, is hilarious. Also, comedian, writer, and host of the podcast Cool Playlist, my good friend Eliza Skinner is here. Me, I'm around, and I'm fine. A lot of people reached out after the last episode pursuant to my conversation with Mike Carano with a, "Hey dude, you okay?" And the answer is yes, I am. In fact, I'm very okay. But I really thank you for your concern. I'm doing great. As I have said in the past, the joy of having one of these brains is it's kind of a double-edged sword, because the same brain that makes the good stuff makes the bad stuff, and you have to be careful with yourself. But it is the price of admission. Now, fans of this podcast who live in or can get to Southern California, on Thursday, April 18th, we will be doing the Dana Gould Hour podcast live at Dynasty Typewriter. The show will feature myself, along with Eddie Pepitone, Blaine Capatch, John Ennis, as well as live music from Tom Kenny and the High Seas, and interviews with Tom and the High Seas musical director, Andy Paley, who is also the musical director of the Dana Gould Hour podcast. It's going to be an amazing show, and we would love you to attend. Thursday, April 18th, the Dana Gould Hour podcast, live at Dynasty Typewriter. Tickets and information located at, as usual, danagould.com. Now, as I record this, I'm on my way to Atlanta to film an episode of Shudder's upcoming series, Creep Show. And after that, I will be at the Moon Tower Comedy Festival in Austin, Texas. There will be a tour this summer and lots more stuff that I'm currently working on. And my frantic attempts to stay not only solvent and relevant, but relevant and solvent. Take your pick. And now, on to our filthy business.
Gould Hour. An hour? Yeah,
right. It's showtime.
It's a sultry evening, high atop the Mulholland Drive view shelf here in beautiful Southern California. Why is it an evening record? Well, because my guest, unlike many of my guests, is gainfully employed. She's a really funny comedian. Well, it's not the first time I met my guest, but I remember it was a little over a year ago. It was up at Sketchfest, and we were doing the Set List, which is a show where they just project a topic behind you and you have to improvise a stand-up bit about it. And sometimes it's easy, like anal thermometer, and you can come up with something. And then it'll be like lobster demagoguery, and there's really nowhere you can go. And my next guest did hers in rap form, and it's one of my favorite things when you're at a show and you're watching someone and you think, well, I can't do that. Couldn't even do it poorly. She was right on James Corden. She's currently writing on the Independent Spirit Awards. She has an album coming out soon on a special thing yet to be named. Please welcome the lovely and talented Eliza Skinner.
Yay, it's me. This is the sound of my voice.
Perfect. You came from New York.
Uh-huh.
Is that where you're from Virginia originally, where my mother is from, but I'm not going to hold that against you.
Okay.
You're from Richmond.
I'm from Richmond.
My mother is from Front Royal.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Skyline Drive, Luray Caverns, Route 522, all that red clay dirt.
Pretty rural.
Yeah, very rural. Yeah, there was a bar in my mother's hometown called the Naughty Pine, where famously in a bar fight, guy lost an eyeball.
Wow, that's a weird thing to lose.
Yeah, in a fight, you have to try to lose an eyeball.
It's like specific and
because your eyeball is
surgery
set in your skull to be protected.
Yes,
that's why you have that.
Hence
the name socket.
Yeah. There's a lot of crappy little bars all over Virginia. I remember being fascinated with one called Bubba's when I was in high school, and one night we called ahead and got permission to go to Bubba's. We were like, hello, we are all 16 years old, but we think it sounds fun there. We will come and have colas and order whatever cheap pizza that you have. Because also in Virginia, it's illegal to have a bar. Every place has to serve food also.
Okay.
And they were like, okay, weirdos. And we're like, yeah, we're going to Bubba's.
And this is around Richmond?
Yeah. I was like out in the county outside of Richmond. Yeah. Thirsty Camel, I remember, was another one that we're like, oh, yeah, someday we're going to get to go to the Thirsty Camel.
Yeah. And apparently a lot of people in blackface. Just people running around in blackface.
Oh, man. It's wild. I don't know what to say. They're just going through all of the guy who's like.
By the way, I'm from Massachusetts, which has a vigorous racist history.
Oh, sure. Well, that's the thing. I mean, people put it on the South, but I'm like, the whole country is trash. There's no state that doesn't have some sort of terrible thing.
This at the time of this record, it's at the high point of the this may all be resolved in the 2 weeks but. People forget in the late 80s, there was a movie called Soul Man.
Yes.
With C. Thomas Howell in blackface for the
studio
movie.
Release. Yeah. Big, very, very, very famous and popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is the guy fourth in line in Richmond or in Virginia, which I believe we've gotten to now. The first three. The fourth in line guy is there because they drew his name out of a bowl because they were tired of trying to figure it out and like.
Perfect.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, we do have this old thing in the state laws where we can just pick a name out of a bowl and they're our lieutenant, governor, whatever. And they did that. So we could be in a situation.
Damn it.
Right. We could be in a situation where it's like, no one even wanted this guy, but he's at least not been in blackface and hasn't date raped someone. So
it's amazing. Yeah. But which we should say, Virginia is a beautiful state.
Yes.
Virginia is a beautiful state.
Besides all the blackface.
Lovely people.
So pretty.
Yeah. And then how did you, your sister is also a performer, correct?
Yeah. She's a Broadway actress.
Yeah. Your sister's like a
real success.
Yeah.
She's got her shit together.
Yeah. She's on Broadway and she's a real actress.
Yeah.
She's not a clown.
No, not unless she got cast as one.
Right. What's your sister's name?
Emily Skinner.
Emily Skinner. And what would she be doing right now?
Right now, she's playing Cher's mother in the Cher Show.
See, that's a real job.
It's a very real job. She's also playing Lucille Ball for one scene in that show.
But is that 8 shows a week?
Oh yeah.
You don't have a life.
No, I mean, you do, but you don't have vacations. That's for sure.
And you get one night off a week.
Yeah.
And you
usually
always
Monday nights, I guess.
And how long? Yeah, Monday nights. And because I've done 8 show weeks.
Oh.
Yeah. And no, it's awful. And you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, I have that goddamn show.
Yeah.
Because this 3 hours.
Yeah. This isn't as bad as some of the other ones because the show she's in now, she's got like her, 3 songs and they're not even that long. Yeah. Which is how musical theater used to be.
Right.
And then it became rock operas where it's like you are singing for 2 hours, 8 shows a week and people just blow their voices out.
Yeah. There is a musical that's currently touring now. It was just in LA. I forget the title of it.
Rent? Is it Rent?
No, it's a new one. It's Beauty and the Something. No, it's a new
Pippin,
one.
Yes.
And I forget the name of it. But my friend's son is the lead. And he was going to, I think, Carnegie Mellon or...
That's where my sister went.
Oh, okay. And he just auditioned for this thing, like his first audition, called him back. And my friend's literally like getting ready to mail in his tuition check for his junior year or sophomore year. And he called him and said, like, I got the lead in the national tour. And he like ripped up the check.
There you go.
But he's like, he's on stage for 2.5 hours a night singing.
Yeah.
It's like, you're done. That's your...
Yeah. And that's actually, with Rent specifically, that I brought up earlier, they would get very young people to be in it because it was about a bunch of young people who didn't really have trained voices, and they were singing this like pop rock style, and they would just blow out young people's voices
and just throw them out of the...
Yeah. And be like, all right, next one. So there was always, I remember when I first moved to New York, it was still on, and there were just always rolling auditions for Rent.
Wow.
Like all these young people being like, I'm going to make it. And then other people being like, you should actually probably not try to do that one.
Right. And 23-year-old kids with good luck on the show.
Yeah, it'll be a big hit.
I used to talk like that. I have had 2 throat surgeries for nodules.
Nodes?
I started doing stand-up young, and I would do, I would scream a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'd scream for an hour a night, 3 hours on weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Well, yeah. And even when you're not screaming, or
projecting
in
wrong.
My experience, like afterwards you're hanging out at some bar where
yelling.
People don't realize that. I have had far more damage to my voice, I think, from that than from any performance, because you don't know how much and how long you're sustaining just screaming at your friends over the sound of a bar.
Yeah. I used to do a bit where I would go into the audience and attack me. And it would go longer and longer every day. Now, I destroyed my voice. Yeah. And then I had to take training. After the nodule surgery, I had to go into like training, and I would have I remember all this stuff. So awful. I would have to warm up before shows, like really had to learn. And I just remember this one too. Oh God. I mean, you're a singer. Are you a trained singer?
Not really. I have done a little bit of vocal training. Actually, I recently started writing and recording music, and I never did that before. I always improvised music or wrote for other people to record.
Real songs, or are they funny, or?
They're both. They're like a little bit funny, but also real songs. Because I find that I think with a lot of, I grew up
like somebody we were talking about in the last episode of the podcast, Martin Mull.
Okay,
if you know his albums,
I don't actually. I know his like acting work.
Yes,
but
he was a great actor and a very well known American painter. And I actually have a Martin Mull hanging in that room. Yeah, but he came to note in the early 70s with these albums of him playing guitar and singing these songs, and they're just really, really clever, funny, well constructed. He's like a funny Van Dyke Parks, It's just really clever, well crafted songs, really smart.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping that mine are, and also playing with genre a lot actually, because I find that I grew up loving novelty songs. But
like Mr. Jaws.
I don't know that, but like there was this one called Shaving Cream. I love.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Like
the baby fell out of the window.
Yes, you'd think that his head would be split, but good luck was with us that morning. He fell in a big pile of shaving cream. Right. Yeah, so like albums full of like just different novelty songs by all kinds of different people, and like the Monster Mash album.
Oh yeah. By Bobby Boris Pickett, released the week before the Cuban Missile Crisis. Mr. Jaws was a different kind of novelty record that they did. It came out in the summer of 1975. And what it was is it took songs that were hits, and then they would
parodies?
No, and then they would cut it into a story like, what are you looking at up in the sky? Sky rockets in flight. Oh, all right. What's that noise? So Mama's got a squeeze box. It was like every hit that was.
Yeah. I would have been obsessed with that when I was a kid.
Right. Yeah. But Mr. Jaws was all about Jaws. It was, excuse me, Mr. Jaws, because Jaws was the only thing available in 1975 for human consumption. It was pretty
ubiquitous,
omnipresent, ubiquitous. It was hard to get away from, and so that was another. And what's funny about that is on Albert Brooks's album A Star Is Bought, he does a parody of those types of albums where he goes, I couldn't get the song, I couldn't get the rights to these other songs, so I just wrote my own song. And it's like, the party in outer space. Excuse me, are you Abe Lincoln? No.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's sort of a gray, rainy, chilly day here high atop the Mulholland Drive view shelf here in Falcon's Lair recording studios in once sunny Southern California. Today, temperatures plummeting into the high 50s. This could be it. I have the most guests I think I've ever had for one record. You know, like a lot of people, I wake up on Sunday morning, I go out to the far end of my expansive lawn, and I get the New York Times. And I first thing I do is I sit down and I open it up to the new podcast announcements. And imagine my surprise when I saw a podcast called Don't Say Cunt. You heard me right. Don't Say Cunt. The first thing I thought was, oh God, another Hallmark movie. But it's a brand new podcast with a stable of talented people. There's really a quintet, if you count Eben. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like the Rolling Stones. There's 5 of you.
Do we start talking yet?
I'm going to introduce you.
Okay.
So don't start. I'm just going to go clockwise around the table. The people involved in the podcast are a very funny actor and comedy writer. What was the show? Exit Lot. What was your show?
This is the sound of my voice.
No, let me say your name first. What was the show?
The Vacant Lot.
Vacant Lot. Paul Greenberg is here.
This is the sound of my voice.
That's how that works. You were on the first episode of the Dana Gould Hour podcast.
I was, with this voice. I think that's why I wasn't on the second episode.
That's right. No, I said if you were good, I'd have you back, and here we are.
That's true. Wow. And it's only been 7 years. That's great.
One day I'll clear a profit. Famous from Newsradio, Kids in the Hall, and of course, his line of holiday candles. Dave Foley is here.
Hello, and this is the sound of my voice.
And Dave and Paul, you do this show with your significant others, your life partners.
Yes.
In many cases, your wives.
Many cases.
Yeah, on and off again.
Yes.
On and off again.
Occasionally.
Yeah, you actually did. Are you guys currently married?
We are, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, sitting to Dave's left is his lovely wife, Crissy Guerrero.
This is the sound of my voice.
Wow. That's not really her voice.
Like.
That was weird.
No. Yeah.
That sounds like a voiceover artist, but since I only watch MeTV, the voiceover would be, look at the tip on that mail-in catheter. Because I only watch MeTV, my daughter goes, Dad, you only watch shows that are for people that are about to die.
That's right. Look at that walk-in tub.
Exactly, the walk-in tub, the mail-in catheter.
We do. We have
Chrissy and Dave have a walk-in tub.
It's a rental. Not the tub itself, but the house that the tub is in.
Oh, really?
It's a rental.
Okay, I have a question about the walk-in tub.
You shouldn't rent tubs.
Our final guest, we saved the best for last. Jackie Harris Greenberg is also here.
And this is the sound of my voice.
All of you have made children together.
Yes.
Yes, and we're not sure which.
Not all mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe.
All of you
made a couple
got
of
a
Dave.
lawyer,
Science
flew to China. That's how you do it, right?
Yeah, no. That's a way.
Yeah. It's
Now-
certainly the driest way.
You
Yes.
can now make a child with more than 2 people, scientifically speaking.
Well,
Really?
What do you mean, Dave?
They've developed a technique where you can take genes from 3 people.
Are you talking about the guy?
I guess the
guy
theory
in China.
being that people as they were now weren't messed up enough.
Wow.
Before we there's so much to talk about. How do you make a human baby? No. What is the origin of this podcast? How did it come about? I'm going to go to you, Paul Greenberg, first.
Well, Dave and I are old Canadians.
You're also Canadian.
We are old Canadians.
Now, oddly,
And
Rob Cohen coming over to this very home in a couple of hours.
Oh, wow,
It's
Rob,
a fully Canadian.
he's
day.
very
My
tall.
house is like a consulate.
Wow, it is. It is. You get your passports done here? Because that would be great.
As Don Rickles said to Rob Cohen, Bob, look at your nose. You're like a Jewish eagle.
A Jewish eagle.
Yeah.
Well, Dave and I have known each other since the 80s. Mm-hmm. We're Canadian, and we do like each other, and we're old friends.
Both very lovable people. You're all lovable people.
And it was actually more the suggestion of Crissy was like, you guys should do a podcast. I think that's how she said it. You can say it yourself.
Kind of how I said it, and it came from because the four of us like to have meals together.
That's
often.
lovely.
Yeah, hang out.
We hang out.
And
that's lovely.
And we talk about things.
I'm envious that you're two couples, you all like each other, and you go out and do stuff.
We're like the Petries and the Helpers.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm Mrs. Kravitz, if that works. I'm Alice Kravitz.
You're Alice Kravitz.
Yeah.
Who was Alice Kravitz played by?
Justine Bateman.
Justine Bateman.
Wow.
I don't remember. Who was it?
I don't remember.
Who was it?
There were two Mrs.
Let's
Kravitz.
not look it up on our phones. Let's not look it up on the phone.
I'm going to tell you something.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you something that was said to me by somebody we were just talking about.
All right.
And this is one of those things you say because you can. Say it. Mel Brooks told me.
Oh, you dropped something. I think it was a name.
I was talking about how funny Paul Lynde was.
Yes.
And Mel's just, it's when you meet and you get to know these people from another generation, you know, that everybody he knows is somebody that I grew up watching on television.
Right.
So he just drops, in the way that I would tell people, Dave Foley is over my house today, and they're like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He does this. So he goes, Paul Lynde, great, very funny, horrible, mean. And a nasty drunk. And then the creme de la creme, he goes, the only person he would listen to was Alice Ghostly.
Oh my God, Mrs. Kravitz.
She was the
aunt. But if you think
Alex Ghostly, the old.
But if you think about it, Paul Lynde was Alice Ghostly.
They had the same.
Oh my God,
they had the same thing.
Do you do
Sammy?
Yeah, it's the same.
Sammy.
I had a photo of them together on my phone.
Yeah, she was the female Paul Lynde.
Yeah, she was. Actually,
you know the
Paul
old
female Paul Lynde. That's another.
It was the Bride of Frankenstein.
You know those stories
Elsa
that was
Lanchester.
Elsa Lanchester.
She was also
You know those
on
stories that used to go around like Danny Thomas and the glass table and all that. Well, do you remember the Paul Lynde one that
No,
went
what's the
around
Paul Lynde
forever?
story?
I heard this. I'm talking in the 80s, probably.
Which Paul Lynde?
The Paul Lynde story of where it was a dentist office in L.A. And it was when he was on Hollywood Squares.
Paul Lynde.
This is like in the Danny Thomas glass table lore.
The theory being that Danny Thomas used to like to pay prostitutes to take a shit on a glass table while he laid underneath
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
And I think to myself,
Yeah.
what a wonderful world.
So this one was apparently Paul Lynde in a dentist office in L.A. He's getting his cavity filled, and it's during Hollywood Squares, and a little kid. And a little 10-year-old girl and recognizes him and goes over to him and starts tugging on his shirt, going, "Are you Paul Lynde? Oh my God, are you Paul Lynde? Are you Paul Lynde? Are you Paul Lynde?" And the mother's doing nothing about it.
Right.
And so the kid does it one too many times, and he just turns to the mother and goes, "Take her away or I'll fuck her."
That is one of the favorite Kids in the Hall references.
What do you mean?
The Kids in the
Take her away or I'll fuck her? Yeah, we had to do
by
it
the
in our
way,
troop.
coming from Paul Lynde.
Take her away. We used to say it all the time.
Coming from Paul Lynde, that should be in the big book of empty threats.
When you said getting his cavities filled, you meant getting his teeth fucked.
Yeah,
exactly. Take her away or I'll blow Sal Mineo. That would have been a little more in line.
Do you remember the Paul Lynde sitcom from the 70s?
Which one?
Yes.
He had the Paul Lynde show in the 70s.
I don't remember.
Where he played a dad who's just pushed to the limits
Oh my God.
by his hippie daughter and her boyfriend. They were living in the basement on a waterbed. And
he must have just been over it.
Oh yeah.
What year? What was it? Early 70s?
I guess early 70s. Yeah.
Wow.
And in every episode, he would come home from work, and his wife would give him a martini. But the best part about this, again, he had a daughter living in the basement on a waterbed.
Right.
With a hippie. But my favorite thing about the show is his catchphrase whenever anything upset him was, "Oh, my knees have locked." That was his catchphrase.
On repeat? Like, that's the phrase?
Every time something would upset him. Oh, my knees have locked. I need to sit out.
Do you think a writer came up with that, or is that from him? I wonder.
I don't know.
Where does that come
That's
from?
the greatest catchphrase of all.
That is
Yeah, it's just
too
lather,
weird.
rinse, repeat.
Holy shit. My knees are locked.
Well, I love like when you watch like those old. He was on Hollywood Squares,
Yes.
and then Charles Nelson. Paul Lynde was to Hollywood Squares what Charles Nelson Riley is to Match Game. These are
These are absolutely
celebrity algorithms.
He was like Charles Nelson Riley was like a Paul Lynde tribute show.
Exactly. He was the road company,
Right.
But when you watch them now, you realize that they're all shit-faced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know on Match Game, I think they would shoot all of them in a day, and they would just start drinking. And by Friday's episode, they're like, he's such a bill.
I got to tell you, we had a Thanksgiving once, and Joyce Bulifant sat in front of me
poor
across the
man's
table.
Joanne Flug.
Exactly. Same hair. She looked very pretty.
Fantastic.
And, I kind of it was a big table, big Thanksgiving table, but through the evening, I was like, I'm going to ask her. I got to ask her about Match Game. I got to ask her. So finally, I just said, Joyce, I'm just wondering, I'm such a big fan. What was Charles Nelson Riley really like? And she just looked at me and went, he was a cunt.
That's fantastic.
And I'm like, really? And he says, yeah. We would all be drunk. He would turn his mic off while everybody else was talking, so you couldn't hear him. And while they were talking, he'd go, I'm going to fuck you. I'm going to fuck you up the ass. I'm going to fuck you up so bad. I'm going to fuck you. Why don't you take you dry cunt? I mean, he would just say the worst thing. So as they're answering their questions on Match Game, that's what they're hearing. Just torture everybody.
They focus on their written ad-libs.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
When I was a kid, I first got into, I have videos of me telling jokes and stuff when I was a little kid, like jokes I do not understand. And I always think of that as like my beginnings in comedy clearly were that I liked the shape of jokes and the music of jokes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Far more than anything else. I feel like that's that thing where you're like, oh, I love this shape. I love this. We're all going to get into it.
And that's a skill that other people don't see. When you write a joke, do you see it and describe it?
Do you mean like the words?
Do you see, like, when I get a lot of my bits, I will just get the image in my head and then I'll just describe it.
I don't think that's what, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how I feel like the thing I most associate with my writing bits is like ranting to myself and then being like, oh wait, that's a thing.
Sure.
That's true. That's true. Is that a thing that I can make other people understand, or is that just a thing in my head?
Right.
Okay. What bridges would I have to build from other people's brains to this? Cause I feel like that's also a big beginning of my comedy was that, like, I remember being in classes when I was a kid, just regular school classes, and the teacher would explain something and I would raise my hand and be like, oh, so it's like this, and think that I was saying it back to them, and they would be like, what are you talking about? Like, I remember one of them.
So like, Eliza,
yeah. Girl, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
No, I'm going to have to call your mom. Like, I remember one of them was learning about existentialism, and I was like, oh, so it's like dancing in the streets. Like, it doesn't matter what you wear, just as long as you are there. And they're like, what? And I'm still like, that is what that is. I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
But so I feel like so much of my life has been like trying to figure out how to be understood more than like,
no, I totally get that. Totally get that.
So yeah, but back to music.
Yeah, you're saying that when you got into comedy, you like the music of the bit and the shape of the bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like ba-da-dee-dee-da, ba-da, ba-da. And so I would also really get into listening to comedians in other languages. I'm just like, this is so great. It's like mainlining just the music of comedy.
Right.
Like, you have no idea what they're talking about, and like hearing the crowd get into it. I really like that.
Who is your opinion of like a very musical comedian in that regard?
Well, I don't really know names of some of the non-English speaking ones.
No, just English speaking. Like to me, George Carlin is like
I was going to say
musical.
I was going to say George Carlin definitely, and obviously I think Steve Martin. He would just like turn a phrase around over and over, and I think was fully banking on the sound of it and the shape of it more than the idea of it. Yeah,
and Carlin has even said like sometimes you just get into what he would call it a run of pure form, which is just like I know how to write this song. I'll plug these words in. I get that, and it's beautiful when you can do that. When you're that comfortable in your own style that you can plug stuff in and go, I can make this bit. I can backwards engineer this.
Yeah, I don't know that I always get into that run, but you're right. When you find it, it's good.
Right, and then you. So growing up in Virginia and your sister, younger?
Older.
Was she always theater?
Yeah, she's like 10 years older than me. So by the time I had like a brain and knew what was going on, she was already out of the house most of the time doing local theater. So my mom would put me in the car to go pick her up from some dinner theater way outside of town, or I would have to be there for rehearsals and just in my little footy pajamas watching adults do musical theater and being like, oh, this is neat. I know all the words. And all the adults would be like, shut up. That makes us feel bad.
That you can do it.
Yeah. But so that was programmed in my brain very early.
Oh, that's funny. And just you and your sister?
Mm-hmm.
And she always wanted to be an actress?
Always. And I have always been so jealous of that. That like she knew exactly what she wanted to do. Boom, sorted, dealt with, taken care of, just go do it. Whereas I'm like, oh, there's this, and I like that too. And what about some of this? And you could do these things together.
But I think that's probably, you were doomed to that because she was so strident in what she wanted to do that you were like, you couldn't compete with somebody that was, unless it was like,
unless I was like, I'm super into math.
Yeah. You're like, I'm going to be an orthodontist or an oral surgeon or something. It's like, other than that, because you also did go into the arts, which is weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I just would have
gutter art.
Yeah. Disgusting, cheap art, clowning. I just,
did your parents ever give you that? Oh,
no, they wanted me to be a lawyer. Their plan was, we want you to be an entertainment lawyer so you can represent your sister and
they had it all figured out.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And you're taken care of. And like, we only have one to worry about as far as the arts career. And I kind of, I didn't listen to that or like that, but I fished around a little bit being like, oh, maybe I'm a designer. Maybe I can do like theater design, or maybe I can do I got a degree in, basically mass communication because I got a degree in TV because I was really good at watching it. Like, and that's most of what you have to do.
Sure.
And TV and film analysis. And then I was like, James Madison. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'll never use that. And now I write jokes about movies. That's most of what I do.
Yeah, you're using your major.
Yeah, I'm shocked to be using my major. Not at all for what it was supposed to be using it for. But yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Did you enjoy college?
I enjoyed a lot of aspects of college. I think many people have said this. I would have gotten more out of it if I had gone to college when I was older. At the time, most of what I got out of it was social and extracurricular. And just kind of like life lessons of being around people when I'm halfway an adult with halfway supervision and the safety of that. Did you enjoy it?
No,
did you go?
I did go. But I was already I started doing stand-up 2 weeks out of high school, and I was already making money as a stand-up by the time I was a freshman.
Ooh, must have been nice.
At the school, but still, I was making cash. And college was just an annoyance.
Mm-hmm. Like having to go through the rules of it?
I was just like, I was already I was like your sister in that regard. I was already on my way. I knew what I wanted to do, and it was working out. I was in a good place I was in the right place at the right time. I was in Massachusetts in the early 80s at the beginning of a massive explosion in stand-up comedy and a way to make a living at it.
And you were the kid.
Yes, I was. I certainly was. And not now, though. And so I didn't really enjoy any aspect of I didn't really do college. I didn't really.
God, God, I was bad at it. I was just bad at all of it, but it was a safe place to be bad at stuff. Because when you're bad at things in like the real world, you get a credit rating.
Sure,
you get like all that stuff.
Do you have friends from college out here?
Yes. Yeah.
That are in the business?
No, nobody in the business. I have friends who are graphic designers who live out here. And I have one friend who is in comedy back in New York who I went to college with, but that's about it.
I have three.
Yeah.
Dave Rath.
Okay.
Manager. I was a friend of mine from UMass. I knew him at college. Andy Gordon, who's a writer on Modern Family. I also knew at UMass. And the actor John Michael Higgins. He and I were very good friends. He went to Amherst. I went to UMass Amherst. But we both did stand up in the local clubs out there and stuff like that. So I've actually been friends with him since we were both in college. So it's interesting. Like I see Dave Rath is in my social group still, and like we'll go out and I'll look at him like I forget. Like I've known you since literally since the first year of the Reagan presidency. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, I find that I mix up the different eras of my life. Like the college friends, the big first New York friends, the New York once I got into comedy friends, the LA friends. And so I'll be like, oh yeah, they're my friend from college. No, they're not. They're my friend from improv.
Yeah. You have
which also is kind of a college.
Yeah. You literally have different chapters of your life.
Yeah. But they're all like, once they're filed under old, it's like they're all in one clump for me.
Now here's a question. So you go to New York to do comedy, or you went for something else first?
I moved to New York to pursue being a talent agent or a puppeteer. Thank you.
Speaking of that word, how did you get the name of your podcast, Don't Say Cunt?
Well, and I should point out that when you look for it, it's actually now Don't Say ...
Don't say ...
Paul and Dave.
On various podcasts.
Yes.
Platforms.
On their Spotify.
So we want an audience.
Yeah, you want people to listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want
every time they start the show, it is.
Yeah, we just say, welcome to Don't Say Cunt.
Right. I'm changing the name of this podcast to my other favorite murder. Just trying to. Trying to get.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. And I guess it was because we started doing just after the Sam B thing where everyone got so mad at her for calling Ivanka, is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah.
A feckless cunt.
Yeah.
And everyone goes,
I don't know if she's feckless.
No, but everyone's so upset about the fact that she said cunt, and that they forgot to really be upset about the fact that Ivanka Trump is a cunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead.
Yeah. Well, it's always
she's a cunt, but also Samantha Bee is Canadian.
Yeah,
she's another.
And us, in Canada, it's a completely different word to say. I mean, it's not. It means the same thing, but people don't care like they do here.
People say, "Hey,
cunt, get out of my way, you cunt."
Yeah,
that's how the Queen, her Christmas address starts out with
my fellow
Merry Christmas, you cunts.
Cunts and Kings. Of Cunts and Kings is her favorite board game.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got another cunt.
Oh, my
God.
Yes.
I've been crowned. It's called Game of Cunts over there.
Yeah, Game of Cunts.
Yeah, it isn't. Well, again, I mean, even saying it after a while, it just loses all meaning. And it's like George Carlin's bit about tits. It's a fun word to say. Cunt.
Right.
Fun word to say.
Right.
And it's
but we're kind of fascinated with the fact that it's so horrific when people hear it
in
here.
America.
It's so horrific.
Such a problem with it
because we didn't grow up that way.
I remember being in Italy during the Monica Lewinsky scandal and talking to some people over there, and this woman was like, "What's wrong with you people?
Right?
You guys, they have mistresses. The powerful men, they're crazy. They all have a mistress. What? What?
Right.
Why not?
Every president you've ever had a mistress.
Yeah. Well, you have to realize that, from what I understand, that the people that founded this country wanted religious freedom because the religion that they came from wasn't crazy enough.
That's very true.
No, this doesn't even believe that spirits live in the woods. We have to go someplace else. Yeah, it's a young country, and it's very provincial.
Yeah,
and it is founded by Puritans.
Yes,
it's very puritanical.
It's the most religious country.
British were very happy to see leave.
No problem with them leaving, and I don't want to get into a political discussion with 4 people with whom I agree, because it's
not too
fun.
exciting.
But what it is the emptiness of their value system in the fact that they love the least Christian behaving human being in the history of my office.
Yes.
But the hypocrisy is thrilling. You know?
It is.
It's like when an evangelist gets caught with a hooker. So it's just like it's the hypocrisy is. It would be like if you found out that Keith Richards also ran a Boy Scout troop. Like he taught whittling and boxcar races, and
it would be upsetting.
Yeah, how can you be that guy too?
Well, I think
it's a sweater and a pipe. Hi, guys.
I think I'd love him more.
Yeah, I'd love him more.
I have a friend who's a friend of his. Who's my friend Kevin
Jackie's
Fitzgerald.
favorite person.
Really?
Keith Richards.
I love.
Is your favorite person?
My friend Kevin Fitzgerald, who's been on this podcast, was a bodyguard for the Rolling Stones from the late 60s to the early 80s. And now he's a famous veterinarian.
What?
He's on Animal Planet. He's emergency room vets on Animal Planet.
Well, that's a natural progression.
Veterinarians.
But I asked him, I said, how did you get to be a veterinarian? It's on my podcast. And he goes, Keith Richards made me. I was like, what? At one point, in the early
I used to shoot him up with horse tranquilizer. That's how I started.
Keith just brought him into the office. He goes, Kevin, what are you going to be knocking heads when you're 50? You got to get what do you want to do? He's like, I don't know. I like animals. Be a veterinarian. And then he goes,
my God.
I'll write you a letter.
I'll write you a letter.
See, we love him even more.
And he goes, and he still calls me about it. He's got a dog named Dandelion. And he calls me and I'm like, Keith, you're in Connecticut. Go to the vet. I'm in Colorado. I can't help you. He says Keith is the greatest guy in the world.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
They're all working.
Jackie has her book from school with Keith Richards written all over it.
Really?
All over it.
Write David Bowie.
Yeah, well, David Bowie's in my book.
Like I used to write Sandy Duncan.
Well, David Bowie and Sandy Duncan from a distance.
True. Same hair.
Yeah.
Same hair.
Yeah.
Meeting Tilda Swinton was the closest I'll ever come to seeing David Bowie live.
That's a good one.
Does the show have a modus operandi? Does it just have? It's just the 4 of you guys hanging out.
We just start talking.
Stream of consciousness and wherever it takes us.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
And with
the art of conversation.
Yes, with occasional surprise guests that Crissy arranges. As you know, you were a surprise.
Yes, but they're a surprise to us.
Yeah, we don't.
That's the thing. We didn't know you were going to show up.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. Now, do you ever know who the guest is going to be?
No, they just show up and
keep it a secret.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But, that's nice for the guests, too, because there is no, they can just say what they want to say. It's not,
no prep for them.
There's no here, I'm going to pitch my thing. It's just chit-chat.
Because that would be a waste of time.
Right? Why would you want
our podcast?
No.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
But it's I find with this podcast, having done it for a long time, that the best, sometimes I'll have a preset theme in my head, I really want to talk about this. And then other times, the last months, my conversation with Mike Carano last month, we didn't know where we were going to go, and it got really heavy about our mutual craziness, and it was great. I mean, it was really great, and it was and I've actually had people email me thank you so much for that.
Cool.
And it's great when you see. That's why I know he's evil incarnate, but I really miss Charlie Rose.
Yeah.
Because I love just being able to talk to one person for an hour and really let them.
I miss Bob Costas for the same reason. I used to love Bob Costas's show.
Yeah.
Where it was just 2 guys sitting in chairs and you never knew where it was going to go.
Mm-hmm. And that was the typical thing. The thing that was the difference between Letterman and the Tonight Show and Letterman. And then they turn everything into the Tonight Show. It's like Conan became the Tonight Show, and then Late Night with Carson Daly became it's 2 a.m. I don't need a band, and it's just But
Letterman also kind of killed the talk show in a way, in that talk show. All talk shows became comedy shows.
Yes.
Letterman. Before, Tonight Show wasn't a comedy show.
Yeah, I never thought of that, and that's exactly right.
Yeah, the Tonight
I never
Show,
thought of that before.
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart didn't have to come out and do comedy bits.
That's really funny, yeah.
He could come out and talk about his horrible paintings.
Right.
Read his lousy
his poetry. Yeah, I have the book.
Yeah.
But
now he would have to come out and play Gnip Gnop.
Right.
Yeah, I really enjoy, hearing, letting somebody talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I miss, like on the Tonight Show, they would have people out that were not in comedy, so they would talk about things that weren't comedic.
Yeah. I missed the fake drop-by, where I was just shooting in the next studio, and I thought I'd drop by and say hi.
And, well, that was always Bob Hope, and Carson hated Bob Hope, and he hated Bob Hope because he would do that.
Because he doesn't want to sit on the couch, right?
But also he doesn't want to sit on the couch.
He would actually drop by, you mean?
Well, no, but he would say, like, I'm going to come by this Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And because he owned NBC, basically, they go, Bob Hope wants to come. Yeah, Johnny did not like Bob. Johnny did not like Bob Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Carson would have on people that were great talk show guests that weren't really like hot in the business. Like he would have Charles Grodin on. Or He would have Charles Grodin on.
Yeah.
And Charles Grodin would always pretend like they were having a fight. No, I know you don't like me, Johnny. And Carson would, like, he would have Bob and Ray on.
Yeah.
And Bob and Ray would come out and tank. And Carson would piss himself because he knew they were funny.
Right.
But they were just too dry for that audience.
Right.
And he didn't care because he knew they were funny.
Yeah, Carson had that confidence to just sit and let someone else talk and not have to be funny every 5 minutes. It was a completely different thing.
George
Global.
George Global,
He was always on.
Yeah.
Always.
Also famous from the Hollywood Squares.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Basically all those people in Hollywood Squares who, when we grew up,
Fanny Flagg.
only knew they were on Hollywood Squares. You had no idea why they were famous. Like,
George Global.
Charlie Weaver's a character.
Charlie Weaver?
Yeah. You see them in a movie like, I guess that's what they did.
Yeah.
Joanne Worley.
I know.
Yeah.
And they don't really have that venue anymore. Like, they don't have like the game show.
No.
Like,
not really. Everything's too... They have to fill every minute now. There's no space anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we just had some space just now.
It's very
frenetic. I found it very relaxing.
Mm-hmm. Everything is, I mean, to use everything is an orgy. It's just, it's an orgy with fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was the old Dick Cavett show.
Right. Which was, where he'd let people argue on Dick Cavett. Do you remember that? Like,
his earlier show.
Yes, his earlier show where people would get into fights in front of him, and he'd just sit there and let them fight.
He would bring in people like Governor Wallace and
pit them against
Jim
each other.
Brown.
Right.
And and said, so you really want you tell him your feelings about race. Basically.
And then Jim Brown would go, and Martin Luther King said something to me just before he died, and I'm going to tell the world what it is. Groucho said something to me once. And then Jim Brown would lose his train of thought. And it would go to a commercial where Rod Serling was selling mopping gloves.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. People forget.
For real.
Poor Rod.
Yeah.
He would. I remember those. I'm Rod Serling, and this is Woman. And it was this woman mopping the floor. Yeah, that guy would. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I have an ad. It's on loan to an art show right now, but it's while Rod Serling is writing stories that curl your hair, he's wearing socks that turn your head. It's an ad for some kind of socks.
Socks that turn your head.
Yeah, it's like
I need
Rod
a pair of those.
Thorlo socks.
I moved to New York to pursue being a talent agent or a puppeteer. Thank you. Well, thank you. It is totally true. I did not know how to get in.
Both lucrative.
Yes. Easy to get into also. Tons of jobs in both fields.
Yeah.
I did not.
I've heard of talent. I was married to a talent agent or a literary agent. You make a lot of money as a talent agent. I don't know. This is interesting. I've dated both puppeteers and agents.
Okay, yeah, right.
And one, I can tell you, a lot more liquid income.
Yeah, well, I think that there's like a handful of puppeteers that are probably got the good jobs.
No pun intended.
Hey, who have the great jobs and make money, and then there's a lot that are weirdos.
There are some puppeteers whose last name is Henson, and then there are other people.
It's basically like being a magician, I think.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple that get the good Vegas gigs, but even still, that's the place you go for it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get into puppeteering, so I got a job as an agent's assistant.
So tell me, what is the drive to become a puppeteer? What is the drive? And I say this as somebody. I say this as somebody who owned and has in my garage Jimmy Nelson's album Instant Ventriloquism. I have.
So then you know.
I have a How to Be a Ventriloquist album.
I never wanted to be a ventriloquist.
I'm very excited to read the book Winch.
I don't know that.
The story of Paul Winchell, who's a very famous ventriloquist. Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney.
Okay.
He was very popular. If I showed you his picture, you go, oh, yeah, I've seen him.
Okay.
His memoir, self-written, and called Winch, supposedly the Citizen Kane of crazy celebrity memoirs. And I've ordered it. I'm waiting for it to come.
That'll be a fun dive.
It includes many screaming arguments with his mother at her grave.
That's the kind of person who becomes a ventriloquist, for sure. Yeah.
Well, as I've said, no one has ever said, now that I've gotten all my emotional shit figured out, I can become a ventriloquist.
Yeah. So I never did the ventriloquist stuff. I think I just liked the Muppets a whole lot. And I liked that idea of being a performer. I had a very strange relationship with being a performer for a long time. Obviously, I think I've planted some of those seeds in what I've told you already about my upbringing. But, as a puppeteer, you get to do all of that, but it's not your face and it's not you. It's a character.
I just have this image of you standing in front of a high-rise building with like United Puppetry at the top.
like the big business of puppetry.
Like the New Yorker building. Like, I can't get in there.
Yeah, it's just too hard. A gal like me just off the bus.
Hey, where are you going?
I don't know.
We need a new puppeteer.
Yeah. I don't know why I was like, puppeteering, maybe that's the thing for me. I really don't know.
Did you ever make money puppeteering?
No, I did not get into it at all. Like I had like sock puppets and stuff, and I would one of my first experiences with improv was I was a Girl Scout for a long time when I was a kid, and we had to put on a puppet show for younger students, and my puppet just like fell apart during it. And she was it was Baba Yaga. She was a witch. And so I just kept going with it. And I was like, look, this is a thing that happens to witches. Our noses fall off, whatever. And I was like, I'm a scream. I'm so funny.
Right.
Maybe that influenced it somehow.
Great. Good.
I don't know. Thanks. Yeah.
You used it.
Yeah.
You used it.
Yeah, exactly.
And talent agent didn't work out either.
I was an agent's assistant for 4 months. And
at what agency?
It doesn't even exist anymore.
Which one?
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Triad?
No, it's just like a little tiny boutique agency, and it was terrible. I cried every day. My last day, my hair started falling out. It was also my first job out of school.
Yeah, and it's brutal. I mean, it's a brutal.
But it is brutal. I remember the last day I came into work, and the guy who owned the agency, the assistants always had to be there an hour early before everybody else. And an hour earlier than they had told us we were hired for. You just had to figure that out. And so my last day I came in when I was actually supposed to be there instead of an hour early. And I remember my boss was like messing around with the fax machine, and both of the assistants, me and this other girl, walked in, and he turned to us and was like, I can't do this. And this isn't, and you, what the fuck are you doing here so late? And I was like, okay. And I walked into the bathroom and cried and was like, this is what I needed to know, that this is absolutely the right decision, that no part of me will ever have to be like, why did I leave that?
Wow.
But
is that guy still around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I don't want to say what the name of it is.
Is he out here or in New York still?
I don't know, actually. That I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that he was probably out here, but that was just an assumption on my part. I
didn't understand that behavior, but it's common.
It is so common.
And not just in talent agencies, it's common everywhere.
It's really crazy that how common that is, that people will just treat their assistants and anyone who's quote unquote on a lower rung than them so terribly. Generally when I
discourage people from having jobs.
When I encounter something like that, like now, I don't usually even get upset about it. I'm just like, this is how you treat people. So this is how you treat most people in your life. So I know how people feel about you, and they hate you. Kind of everybody in your life hates you. I don't need to be upset with you, man. You got a nightmare life.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's well put. It's just like this. And I know a lot, I know a lot of agents and stuff like that, and most of them are great, but there's always that people think that their position gives them license to be an asshole. Mm-hmm. So they seize upon it. And what that means is that they are an asshole. And they've just been
waiting for it to bloom.
Yeah, they've just been like waiting for it to be appropriate and letting it, because nobody who doesn't want to yell at somebody yells at somebody.
Oh, it's horrible.
And that was the thing about
I've yelled at my cat and felt horrible afterwards. Yeah. I can just adults. There's no reason for an adult to scream at another adult unless someone has been physically hurt.
Yeah, no, it's mind-boggling. And like you yell at your kids, and then I was like, I'm really sorry, I lost my temper. Yeah. And I want my kids to know that adults can be wrong. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not trust
and apologize for things.
Yeah. So they won't trust anybody to, they won't believe everything at adults. So just because an adult says something doesn't mean they're right.
Yeah.
Most adults are full of shit.
Yeah, that took me a long time to learn.
Yeah, no. Well, if nobody tells it to you, if an adult doesn't tell you, and they're not going to tell you because they don't want you to realize that they're full of shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a big lesson. It's a big lesson for kids. And, it's Joe Biden said that about Donald Trump, and it was so great, and it didn't get any traction. But he said, "What kind of person likes saying you're fired?"
Yeah.
What kind of person likes firing people?
Everybody hates it. I've been fired by awful people, and I could tell they were uncomfortable while they were doing it. Yeah. Someone who just is like, "This is the pitch. It's me firing people." Yeah, that's true. It's a fundamental nightmare person. Yeah. But yeah, that dude was bad. Oh, and that position was so terrible. I was paid so little. I had to get a job outside of it.
Supplement.
Yeah, so I could pay rent. And I was in a pretty good situation where my rent was not like the average New York rent. Uh-huh. My sister, I took over in an apartment that my sister's friend had been living in. So it was still like she was on tour or whatever. So,
Did you ever sleep, or just like? Yeah, you're working in an agency. When is your other job?
All weekend. But I was also new in town, so I didn't really have friends or a social life. So I was like, "This is great. My social life is I work at this hotel." Right. And the hotel was all full of young people working there, and they were all fun and cool and interesting. Yeah. So that was really great. And when I quit the agency, I was like, "Can I just go full time here?" And then I started working in hotels, and I became a concierge, and I was a concierge at a couple different fancy New York hotels, which was real weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must have seen a little bit of freaky shit.
Oh, yeah. There was one guy in the first place that I worked we had a lot of business travelers that would come back a lot. Mm-hmm. And there was one guy who always used to lock
I'm going to assume all of these stories involve the word whores.
No. I do have, those are the bad ones.
Skip it.
No, you'll like it. This guy used to, always lock himself out of his hotel room naked.
Oh, no. Yeah. He's working through something.
Yeah. You don't do that by mistake, especially not. Yeah. You maybe do that once with effort, but over and over. Come on, buddy.
Get on the elevator, stark naked, come down to the lobby.
There was a phone by the elevators, and he would call and be like, "I got locked out." And so it was like, we would be like, stay up there. We'll send someone up. So either way, it was either one bellman sees this dude or he appears in the lobby. Yeah. But either way, he got somebody to see him naked.
That's like a nightmare I've had.
Being outside of your room or having to see some business traveler naked.
Being locked out of my room naked. Like,
Yeah, no, that was his favorite thing.
In my dream, I rip up the carpet and make a
fashion suit. And people are like, "That is great. Where did you get that?" Yeah. Launch a whole new career.
Yeah, I look like that weird guy that's always singing with David Bowie. Whatever his name was. Klaus Normie or something. I'll look it up. So bizarre. So the point of the show is just have people on, let them run out the string.
Yeah. Well,
talk about whatever anyone.
Dave and I naturally talk,
and ramble,
and it's in a normal conversation. You never know where it's going to go, and it's not that we learn anything about each other.
No,
I think, which is great.
Heaven forbid.
But there's nothing to learn, and I think that's important. It's just, and we have Evan Schletter playing some beautiful music underneath the entire podcast.
That's
So that
great.
So
you don't even have to listen to what we're saying.
If you don't like what we're saying, just listen to the music.
You know, it was one of the coolest, since we're talking about old talk shows, one of the coolest old talk show things. And by the way, the gentleman who hosted this later became insufferable. But early Tonight Show was Steve Allen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He had Jack Kerouac on reading his poetry, playing piano under it.
Wow.
And it's on an album. It's so great.
Wow.
I
It's
recently
so cool.
watched the full Lenny Bruce appearance, one of Lenny Bruce's appearances.
The one with All Alone?
Show.
All Alone?
All Alone, yeah. But
Brilliant.
They do this musical that he's writing with Steve Allen.
Yeah.
Saying, but he also, before that, he did like 10 minutes of material. He did like 10 minutes of material, wanders over, does this thing with Steve Allen at the piano, and then goes back out, does more material. He's did like 20 minutes in the show.
Oh my gosh.
It's in a
on
Mrs.
YouTube,
Maisel
or-
episode, by the way.
That's right.
That Steve Allen thing?
Yeah. By the
way-
I have to say that galls me to no end that they made, and I love Kevin Pollak so much. I'd hate to say anything negative about his show, but the fact that Lenny Bruce is Yoda.
Yeah.
I was like, no, Lenny was a junkie
Yeah.
who was married to a stripper.
Yeah, right.
And
Valerie Perrine.
Yeah, they really cleaned him up.
yeah, I don't think. Yeah, they cleaned him up a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Although the guy doing Luke Kirby, the guy doing Lenny, is so much better than Dustin Hoffman.
Oh,
at
yeah,
doing
well,
Lenny.
yeah,
At doing-
yeah.
like when he's actually doing the material. and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
He does a good Lenny.
He does a good Lenny, and I haven't seen that, but yeah, you do good the paper drapes, and you cook on the radiator.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also make him really, really dateable.
Huh?
That Lenny is really dateable.
No, that Lenny's like
he's
a
somebody-
catch.
He's somebody
Yeah.
that you want.
He's not like a sick
Yeah.
heroin addict.
Yeah,
He's like a
yeah.
catch. He's like awesome.
Yeah, no, he's like leading guy.
I just
Yeah.
met him in New York.
Yeah,
at the
I know.
Cana-
I saw
at
your
the Canadian
Instagram.
consulate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is he
That's really
Canadian?
cool.
He's Canadian. He's from
Oh,
Guelph,
he's
Ontario.
Canadian.
Oh,
Well,
Very nice.
Is he really?
Very nice young man.
Canadian reference.
well, Farmington.
Guelph.
University.
Yeah, my brother used to live in Guelph.
Guelph.
My sister
Yeah.
lived in
I used
Guelph.
to be married to someone from Guelph, but
Oh,
always
well.
goes there.
And we'll be right back.
yeah.
Were you
Oh, we're
married
not back.
before Crissy?
I was, yeah.
To what? Who?
Well, once to Crissy.
He was married to Sad.
Yeah.
You were married. Now that's an interesting story. You two were married, then
Yes.
you were not married, and then you
for,
remarried.
Yeah, for 10. Yeah, we were apart for 10 years.
That's not common.
Not so
It's
much.
No.
commendable.
Yeah,
Not common.
yeah.
Yeah.
No. And everybody's happier for it. I
Well,
think.
they were originally set up by
By
Oh,
us.
I didn't know that.
yeah, we set them up all those years ago. We made Dave
in a parking lot at
ask
what was it, the
Crissy
Roxy?
out.
But I had already asked her out, but she
But
just
you
kept
know,
saying no for you.
yeah, but it's because you were
Was this
using
White Trash Wins Lotto?
dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely
That's because
was.
you kept using the stupid Russian accent.
Well,
Yeah.
let's back
I
up.
kept saying, in my country.
Yeah, she doesn't like that, Dave.
He really.
That's not working.
Dave would only date as Yakov Smirnoff.
I know, because he was the most successful man Dave could think of.
He was Yakov Smirnoff was Dave's romance
I like
spirit
in-
animal.
In my country, in America, you're saying.
In Russia.
What
Yes.
the crazy,
What the crazy
formerly Soviet independent republics.
republic? I have beard.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, poor Yakov.
But let's go back. So this was sort of when we met, I guess.
1954, I think.
Yeah, there was
When
a
you and I
musical.
met? What?
It was around that period. Yeah.
We were all
I was
meeting
here
then.
doing-
Yeah.
You're speaking. We're all meeting then.
90s.
Yeah.
Speaking of white trash wins lotto, I believe.
Largo gang.
The Largo Gang, yeah.
Yeah. And
by
I
the
think
way-
I met you through Higgins and those guys.
Yeah,
and Rob
Steve Higgins
Cohen.
and Rob Cohen and all
Yeah.
those people. And there was a musical that you guys did, a really funny musical called White Trash Wins Lotto, which was about Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
Yes.
And you were all in it. And Dave, you were in the cast.
I took over for Paul F. Tompkins
PFT.
when they did the Roxy
Right.
run.
And Crissy, you were in it.
I was in it. From before it was
Chrissy
White
Chrissy
Trash.
was the sole legit.
She was the only. She was the actual
The only one
talent.
who
She's the only one that could really
She's
sing.
the only one that could read
Yeah.
music, understand a note, and sing.
And she
Right.
somehow made comedians able to
she
sing.
had to take comedians
She
and
took
arrange
them
music
You know who
and
you know
created
who sang
singers out of
a
them.
Great song in that show, and I just remember going, "Wow, he is!" And I knew him, Blaine Capatch.
Oh, yes. Blame the Izzy
No,
song.
The Izzy song.
IZZY.
Yeah.
Yeah, Izzy was a great song.
Izzy was a
Yeah.
great song. He looked like Izzy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and
He was a great Izzy.
yeah, he was great, and that song was terrific, and he was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
somehow it all worked with all these.
He's so unassuming. He's so unassuming and so talented and so funny. That's why I call him the Quiet Storm.
No, it's a good name.
I desperately have to pee. Is that all right?
And
Go there, to your right, to your right.
You can edit this out.
Paul had a great number that he never got to do. Do you remember you rehearsed it?
No, he made me rehearse it to death, and he never put it in the show. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah, it was a fast talking song.
He even had a costume.
Yeah.
So is this IZZY? It was like
IZZY was very fast.
And he likes that.
The four girls.
It was all Pirates of Penzance style musical.
Operetta.
Diamond Jim's fabulous foods are as close as your phone. Call 653-6532 for your order of fine food. Diamond Jim supervises the preparation of the famous pizza with the 14-karat taste. A delicious treat for the whole family. Real homemade Italian spaghetti, another specialty prepared for take-home service. Roasted chicken, never frozen, always fresh, seasoned and prepared from Diamond Jim's unique recipe. Truly chicken at its finest. That's Diamond Jim's take-home restaurant. Come out or call tonight.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston. A working man's look at the socio-political issues of our day. And now, Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
This is Political Talk with two guys from Boston. I'm Johnny Connon.
Robbie Sullivan on this side of the table.
I'm driving down the street. I see a woman. She's got to be a buck 10.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she just looked like a pile of peppers.
Sure.
And she lights up a cigarette. I just started laughing. When really,
Pile of peppers.
yeah, but when really old people smoke, it just makes me laugh because it's really like they're just looking at God. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and kill me, you asshole.
Why don't you bring the finish line closer, you prick?
Yeah, I mean, and I do understand it. Like, if Keith Richards is still alive, don't give me shit because I had bread.
Yeah, if heroin made him look fine. Like he has lines in his face like he's been hit with a hockey stick.
Yeah, he does. No one thinks he looks fine.
He's smiling.
He does. He is smiling. He does look
That's
like.
what I mean by fine.
Yeah.
He's self-happy.
He looks like if you went to Goodwill or you went to like a church, like a church basement rummage sale, and if they had a bucket of old pocketbooks. That's what he looks. His skin looks like
caught in a storm with a bag of hammers.
Yeah, he just exactly. Here's one thing.
That's what Roger Clemens said about Will McDonough. Will McDonough was like insulting him as a pitcher, and he goes, "Yeah, you look like you got caught in a storm with a bag of hammers."
My father called somebody a barrel. He looked like a barrel of assholes.
I like that.
Yeah, Jesus Christ,
nice.
He looks like a fucking barrel of assholes.
It's a collection.
It's a collection. Yeah,
so's a pile of peppers.
But could you just give me please, just let me eat some fucking. I was at Whole. If you go to Whole
I respect people who smoke but don't inhale.
Yeah,
they're buying these things. What are they, like $10 a pack?
Yeah, $40 for a cigarette now.
It's ridiculous. But
yeah.
then they're inhaling it. I mean, they're just going.
Yeah,
like, wow.
They just want to stink.
You think, or maybe it's something to do with like, there's nothing cool about me. But this makes me feel.
This makes me feel good.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't understand. And when we were kids, everybody, like, people would smoke during birth.
My mother smoked while she drove us to school.
Oh yeah, but people would, like, doctors would be having a butt going during a surgery, like just
on the plane.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Growing up, my first plane ride, it was up to Ireland when I was like 11.
Oh wow, yeah.
And the whole thing's just full of smoke.
Yeah, well, you go back into the section of the plane where the smokers sat, because if you weren't. Because a curtain will absolutely save you.
Stops all smoke. What the heck?
Oh, yeah, no, it was unbelievable.
Those ashtrays, if you get on a plane, it still has an ashtray, get off.
Look at
That's an old plane.
That's an old plane. Okay, I wonder how old the propellers are on this. And when you think back on that shit, like people would smoke on planes, and it was in our lifetime that people would smoke on planes. Yeah. And you were like, what are we doing now that people are going to look back on and go, those people were out of their fucking mind?
I think you won't be able to, like, text somebody.
Text and driving, yeah.
Like, right now, that doesn't seem that crazy because people do it every day. But eventually, people will be like, can you imagine that we used to text and drive?
We used to text and drive, yeah.
It'll be like the minute you get in your car, your phone goes off. Like,
yeah, and it will, or just like, and it'll go up on your screen.
Yeah, I mean, they already have it, so it says like I'm driving right now, and I'll call you later or whatever. But most people don't activate that.
No, and you hear something come through, and I got to know.
Yeah,
I got to know what that is. I can't wait 20 minutes.
The bigger the car someone has, the less sensitive they are to it.
I posted a video on Instagram of a squirrel running across a telephone line.
People need to see this now.
I need to know what people think.
People would, if they don't see this boxing cat, they're not going to know.
You always have that one relative that comments on every posting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
What do they say, though?
It's not. I also own shoes. Yeah.
What a great color.
Yeah, there's a reason I moved.
Yeah. Stuff like, even shoveling.
Blue, huh?
My friend the other day, he posted himself shoveling. He's in Maryland. And it's like 3 feet of snow.
Sure.
And he's out there shoveling. He just like posts a little video of him shoveling. And I was like, I hurt my back watching this.
Yeah, but also it's like your life is not a show.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Though.
Hey, check it out.
42.
I'm shoveling.
Of what no one else should do.
What nobody else wants to watch. Yeah, show me something. I would be interested in watching you shovel if during your shoveling you found a frozen hobo at the end of your driveway.
Yeah, you're really good at moving frozen rain.
Do you ever go to like IKEA or one of those places with a ball pit?
Oh, yeah.
I always say there's a dead hobo at the bottom of every ball pit. It's one of the, like, when you're swimming and you always think Jaws is under me.
Oh, yeah.
And you could be like
in a pool.
In a pool 6 inches of water below your foot.
If it's murky.
Yeah, Jaws is under me.
Something here. Snapping turtle, Jaws, there's something in there.
I'm in the ocean, Jaws is under me. I see a ball pit, dead hobo.
I've never thought of that. But you know what I don't like about IKEA? Everything. I slept on an IKEA bed once in the middle of the night. Bang!
Oh, it just fell apart?
Us. Yeah.
Oh,
the back of the
well, because it's built
doing
for
nothing.
Swedish
We were
people.
sound asleep.
It's built for Swedish people, and they're very, a lot of people don't know this. The average height in Sweden, 3'6", 3'6" to 3'9".
The bolts, and I love the Swedes. But the bolt,
I love the Swedes.
I love the meatballs. But the bolt, and that's the actual.
Well, that's what see, to them, they're normal. See, that's the whole point. To them, they're normal.
Yeah.
Those meatballs are fine because your average Swede.
They just call them meatballs.
Your average Swede's 3'6" tall. Those meatballs are huge.
Well,
so I'm trying to tell you.
Bed fell apart, and then I started looking around the place like anything from IKEA, it's out.
It's gone.
Tomorrow, I'll go to a yard sale and get something that'll last another 200 years. And at IKEA, it's going to last me 6 months and fall apart. And you got to put it together when you get home like it's Christmas Day.
Oh, it's awful.
It's not good stuff.
It's awful.
But you know what? You can get like a pitcher there or plates. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anytime I get a piece of a piece of paper where they give you a tool, they give you that little Allen wrench.
I'm out.
Or
what is that called?
An Allen wrench.
Oh yeah. Well, that guy Allen's a real douche.
He's a dick or a grommet.
Yeah, Grommet's a douche too.
Oh, Alan and Grommet.
That must have been his dog.
My dad.
Alan's dog's name is Grommet.
I got no time for him.
Maybe that's our show. Alan and Grommet.
Alan and Grommet.
2 wrenches.
It would be interesting to what. You know what I'd like to do? Just take a day off and follow a dog.
Can we take a day off?
No, we can't take a day off.
What the boss said.
But I want to follow a dog from a whole day, from the morning all the way through. Just
you know what? We didn't open up
because a lot of times
open up with our little ad.
Oh, yeah, we're with Bevel Aqua Heating and Air Conditioning.
We're cool if you're cool.
We're cool if you're cool.
We say it every day.
We don't get it.
We don't get a phone,
we don't get a kickback.
Well, that's why we stopped doing it. I mean, we got to still say it.
But
there's T-shirts you can buy.
You can buy a T-shirt online.
Yeah, from Bevel Aqua.
Bevel Aqua Heating and Air Conditioning.
You should buy those T-shirts. They're wonderful. You know what? Good cotton.
Beautiful cotton. Blue. They're blue.
My mother used to think it was an insult. She'd call me Cotton. She'd go, oh, there's Cotton Robbie. And I'd be like, what does that mean? She goes, your skin's so sensitive. You can't wear, what is it called? Synthetic fabrics. Anything.
Oh, really?
No, wool I can wear.
I
but
can't
any
wear wool.
synthetic fabrics. Like, what is those? Rayon and
polyester rayon.
Polyester. These things I can't wear, even if it's just
your big 1970s disco-based petroleum clothing.
Yeah, I look like someone beat me with a stick if I wear that. It's not good.
It's apropos of nothing.
Yeah.
I was on, there's no more porn on Tumblr.
I can't watch porn. Then all the ideas in my head are from someone else's mind,
and
I don't like it.
It's just...
I'm going to go up to a girl and
Tumblr
slap
was just
her.
pictures.
That's not good.
Tumblr was just pictures.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and and they took all the porn off Tumblr.
Oh, wow.
But there's a great...
I put a lock on my own computer.
Oh, sure.
So I can't do it. Even if I had a bad thought in the middle of the night, I just can't do it now.
My brother put a kid lock on his computer. and then he forgot the combination.
That's very kid-like.
And he finds that he now has a good 23, 24 extra hours a day.
Oh, that's funny.
But there was a Tumblr that's just pictures of New York in the 70s.
Oh.
And what you forget, that in the 70s, New York and Boston, those were dangerous places.
Yeah.
You could take...
I remember going to the
you
Red
take
Sox
your life in your
with
hands.
one of those little bats when I was like 12, thinking we were going to have a rumble against young Yankee fans.
First thing I ever saw when I was in New York, I was out in Western Mass with a buddy of mine. We took a bus down from Springfield.
Oh yeah,
to get out of Penn Station. My Emmis, my hand to God. First thing I saw when I walked out of Penn Station on the street was a guy getting his head kicked into a wall.
Oh my!
There was a homeless guy sitting there, wino sitting there. Some guy walked by him, just booted his head into the wall, and I heard his head hit the wall, and it was real because it didn't sound like a movie. It was just kind of like.
Oh.
And the guy went, oh!
Oh, that's terrible.
And now
First
I know.
time I got off,
that's the noise you make when your head gets kicked into a wall.
I would go to Boston Children's Theater in Boston at 365 Commonwealth Avenue.
And that was regular plays, but all performed by children.
My father would put me on the train by myself and let me get off at the train, I swear, at like 11, 12 years old. First time he went with me.
Yeah.
And he walked me from the station over to BCT, Boston Children's Theater. And the second or third time I went by myself, I get off the train, and there's these three guys playing 3-card monte.
Oh, no.
I had never seen it, didn't know what it was, but as I watched, I went, oh, my God, I know how to do this. I can figure this out. If you don't know what 3-card monte is, it's that they're showing you how easy it is, and then as soon as you choose the card, it's not that card anymore, and then they take your money. So I only had $20.
It's really just there where it goes. They would save a lot of time if they just went, you're an asshole.
My dad usually would give me $5. This time he only had a 20. He gives you $20 to get a Yumbo.
Okay.
But I'm thinking I'm going to double up my Yumbo money.
No.
Do you know what a Yumbo was?
No.
So it was a Burger King, had a ham and melted cheese sandwich for like a month.
Oh,
when I was 12.
I thought it was like a Blumpy or something.
It was literally
terrible
the name
sex
of it was
move.
a Yumbo. Anyway, I get off because I guess they were, I don't know. I get off the train. I see this and I go, I know what it is. It's going to be the Queen of Hearts. And I put down my $20. The table disappears. Not just the cards. The $20 hits this cardboard table they created. The whole table goes flat. It's on the ground, and the three people are gone. And I'm looking around going, what just happened? I was just playing a game. And I go up to this cop, and I go, I was just playing a game, and these guys that were running the game, the minute I put my 20 down, they went away. And he goes, that's not a game. That's a scam.
Oh, they saw the cop.
No, the cop was. I had to go find a cop.
Oh, they just took your money and
split.
They
just took my money and ran. The whole game was over. They're going to get a bottle of.
You're out of a Yumbo.
Schnapps.
Now, how do you get back on the train? Now you're out of a play. Now, what play are you seeing at the Children's Theater?
I didn't know what to do.
12 Angry Men with a cast of 8-year-olds.
We were doing Pinocchio.
Oh, okay. It would be Children's Theater. It would be like regular plays, but starring children.
Well, no, that's not what I mean.
12 angry toddlers.
Yeah, what would be the best version of that if you did? I don't know. It's a Wonderful Life.
Death of a Sales Kid.
That's not a play. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's funny. Death of a Sales Kid. I like that.
See?
That's the angle to go with.
Absolutely. Kid's gotta matter. It's a 10-year-old kid.
Or like American Buffalo with kids.
Yeah, I remember.
Where it's like instead, freaking Ruthie. Everything's just a little bit softer.
Frankie and Johnny hanging out in the attic.
Oh, that's a good play, right? That turned into a movie.
I hide my expertise of the American theater.
Yeah.
But this is a typical example of Hollywood missing the point completely.
Yeah.
The great play, Frankie and Johnny at the Claire de Lune.
Yeah. Great music.
Started on Broadway. F. Murray Abraham and Kathy Bates. It's about two
I didn't know that.
forgotten people.
Sure.
And they're both, F. Murray Abraham, they look like normal people.
Yeah.
They look like,
they're normal people.
They make it into a movie.
Turn into actors.
Right. They make it into a movie. It stars Michelle Pfeiffer and Al Pacino. Two sad, lonely losers. Michelle Pfeiffer and Al Pacino. That's like
can't get a date.
Yeah, it's like when they put Raquel. I don't know who's sexy now, but it's like they put her in glasses. Oh my God, she's a nerd.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah,
hot chick in glasses. She's a nerd.
That's got to be a funny glasses store where it's like, come on in and get your nerd glasses. It'll make you not beautiful at all.
Yeah,
all you got to do is put these on.
Exactly.
With the little points. The cat glasses.
Yeah, I've never seen a girl like you see these like, well, I'm a nerd. Like, no, I don't want to fuck nerds.
You know what? At this point, I'm on the back nine. I'm in the 7th inning.
Yeah, you're done.
If a girl says I'm interested in me, that's enough. Now I got to go home and like make some self-awareness moves and try to go back.
No, you can't do it.
At this moment, I'm going to run. I'm scared.
At this point,
I don't want to blow it.
At this point, I'm just tired.
You don't look tired.
I'm at the point now, now I see a beautiful woman, and my first thought is, oh, who has the time? Or when you're a little kid, you see a woman like a beautiful girl. So
start dreaming.
You start fantasizing about him, and now
marry her someday.
And now I look at him like, how's this gonna end?
Yeah, I just don't want to throw it on the wreckage.
I can see oh man, look at that girl. I can totally see her furiously storming out of my apartment.
How am I going to tell her about the 4 women it didn't work out with?
Yeah, I was at Friendly's, and a new girl at Friendly's looked like my old girlfriend, and I was like, oh man, I know exactly how you look furiously moving out of an apartment.
That's brilliant. I love that.
I know exactly how you look.
Great opening line.
Slamming
Johnny.
the door with clothes hanging out of a barely closed suitcase.
I know what it looks like when you don't like the stack of dishes I left.
I know exactly how you sound when you scream, I'll be at my mother's, don't call. Then why did you say you're at your mother's? She likes me more than you.
Yeah, but you don't like your mother.
I know, that's the thing.
Why are you going
all
there?
My girlfriend's mothers like me more than them.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so true, too, because mothers and daughters think there's a little energy there that they can't deal with for very long unless it's like one of them saving the other one.
Here's one thing I always thought of. When you get married to somebody, you're supposed to ask their father.
Oh, yeah.
For the hand.
You better ask their mother now.
What if the father says no? What do you say? Oh, go fuck yourself. I'm going to marry her anyway.
I think most fathers do say no.
Yeah, no.
That's why
all right.
That's not really a thing anymore.
Well, suck my balls, Arthur. See you at the wedding.
It's basically saying, can you pay for a wedding?
Yeah, no shit.
That should be what you say.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, I really love your daughter. Could you pay for a wedding?
Yeah, or just if they don't have a lot of money, like, you're going to help me out with this. I've always fantasized about the cheapest fucking wedding on the face of the earth.
That's the way to ask.
I would love to get married in the median of the Pike.
Do you know any good Shakey's?
4 a.m.
Yeah, that's probably not on the East Coast no more.
Shakey's?
Yeah.
I don't know. The pizza place?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll change it to Papa Gino's.
Yeah, there you go. Do you think we could maybe, sir? I don't know if I'm supposed to get down on one knee to ask you this, but do you know any good Papa Gino's that could cater our wedding? Because I'm in love with your daughter, and I know you don't have a lot of money.
That would be amazing if you get down on your one knee and like, sir, I'm in love with your daughter. Would you marry me? It's the only way I can get. I want to be your daughter's male mother.
I think that would be a great relationship.
I love your daughter so much.
Yeah,
I want to be her.
Where I am.
I want to be her male mother.
Yeah, that's nice, but weird.
That would fuck a guy up so much. I love your daughter so much. Can I marry you?
Wait, what?
I want to be your daughter's male mother. Or just throw him.
I would like to be someone to your daughter.
Sir, I've been dating your daughter now for 4 years. We love each other. We want to spend the rest of our lives together. So, in keeping with tradition, I'd like to challenge you to a duel.
That's nice.
And if I kill you, we can get married.
Because then we'd have the money for your insurance.
And if you kill, and he's like, no, you can marry her. No, we have to duel.
Yeah,
and you throw him
weird.
2 steak knives at dawn.
Yeah, who do you think out of the relationships you've had? Who do you think likes you more, the mothers or the fathers of the girls you've gone out with?
The mothers. The fathers, yeah. I don't deal with the fathers.
Yeah, the fathers usually read the paper.
I put on a good Eddie Haskell show for the mothers. I'm like, how are you?
You're
nice
very
to
polite.
See you. Yeah, very polite. I'm clean.
Yeah, well, you're polite.
Everything you can see is clean.
That's good.
Yeah.
I do think I make a real effort with laundry when I'm meeting someone when it's early.
Yeah.
Later on.
When the dirt in your navel has crusted to the point that when you finally flick it out, it looks like a chocolate crouton, you need to bathe more.
Yeah, this girl asked my brother, hey, do you pick the clothes up off the floor and sniff them before you come out with me? And I don't think his answer was good. He said, most of the time.
Most of the time.
No, that's not the answer. That's not what she was looking for. She was hoping you were going to say, of course not. But I think sometimes he thinks like, oh, that shirt's still clean. There's no stains on it.
Yeah.
That's not clean.
Why do you smell like pepperoni?
Because I love Papa Gino's.
Oh, God.
Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
We're happy to have you with us this evening and want you to enjoy every minute of your stay here. And while you relax and stretch, visit our concession where you'll find something to please you. There are ice-cold drinks, delicious sandwiches, ice cream, coffee and snacks, and many other pleasing treats. Our foods are fresh and tasty, our drinks satisfying and refreshing. They're so good.
There are currently 1,372 documentaries about the Fire Festival available for your viewing pleasure. And they are all worth watching. The Fire Festival tells the story of a group of cynical, entitled, dishonest, morally bankrupt douchebags actually getting what they deserve for a change. Not to mention what happened to the people who actually tried to throw the festival. And I say tried to throw because the word organized does not belong anywhere near any conversation about the Fire Festival. You knew it was going to be a shit show and they spelled fire F-Y-R-E. From the perspective of the, quote, organizers, unquote, it was probably to show that they were too cool for conventional spelling. A virtual orgasm of pretentious bullshit. My friend Paul Clay used to say that when you go up to a gig and the sign says comedy night and it's spelled N-I-T-E, you know that illiteracy will be one of the major themes of the evening. And all of this bullshit about models. If you're a model, fine. Good for you. But I cannot see, and I'm open to being educated, how being a model has anything to do with any form of achievement. It is a testimony to bone structure that you have nothing to do with, and your ability to not eat, which shouldn't be celebrated. On paper, models have the same job description as coat hangers. So no, I don't understand why they are worshipped so fervently. Every time a yacht load of models shows up, you know there's an asshole of historic proportions on board running the show. In addition, the Fire Festival gives a bad name to the Good Fire Festival, by which I mean Burning Man. Yes, Burning Man. You've heard about it, but if you've never been there, you might not know what it is really. Burning Man started out, fittingly enough, in San Francisco, California in 1986. Now, this was back when non-billionaires could actually live in San Francisco. A local artist named Larry Harvey made a 9-foot wooden sculpture of a man, took him to Baker Beach and set him on fire. Some other people saw it, came by and watched. Everybody had fun, and nobody got hurt. In 1987, he did it again, this time with a 15-foot tall sculpture of a man. Everybody had fun, nobody got hurt. By 1989, the man had grown to 40 feet tall. Now, I was living in San Francisco during this time, and I have to say I never heard a thing about any of this. And in the circles I traveled were pretty weird, so that's actually somewhat surprising. But the police heard about it. And so the following year, 1990, the police put a stop to the growing, groovy gathering because nobody had any permits. Enter Kevin Evans and John Law. Not John Law, the cops. John Law, a guy named John Law. John Law wasn't a cop, which is unfortunate, because a cop really named John Law would be cool. John Law was a member of an organization called the Cacophony Society. The Cacophony Society in San Francisco grew out of another, now defunct group called the Suicide Club of San Francisco. Now, contrary to their name, the Suicide Club of San Francisco had no interest in suicide. They were an urban exploration society, a group of artists who treated the urban landscape as a natural landscape, exploring abandoned buildings as one would caves, etc., and exploiting these locations for art installations. The Suicide Club of San Francisco were a fun group of artsy, merry pranksters, much like the Situationists, which grew out of the Dada movement and who were discussed at length in our piece on The Clash and Malcolm McLaren a couple of months ago. As the Situationists grew out of the Dada movement, so the Cacophony Society grew out of the Suicide Club of San Francisco. Why is this important? And so it came to be that in 1990, Kevin Evans and John Law of the Cacophony Society were planning a group trip to a dry lake bed in the Black Rock Desert called La Playa. It was intended as, and I quote, a Dadaist temporary autonomous zone with sculpture to be burned and situationist performance art. It was originally called Zone Number 4, A Bad Day at Black Rock after the Spencer Tracy movie. Oddly, Burning Man got its name to draw a difference between itself and The Wicker Man, the cult British horror movie which depicts a Burning Man-like festival, only in which there is a live, innocent pagan sacrifice trapped inside the man while he is burning, and that, in reality, is not good for anybody. All of this activity lies in direct contrast to the ill-fated Fire Festival, which was dreamt up by criminals and con artists to trick wealthy, amoral douchebags into thinking they could blithely wing into a tropical paradise on a private jet and get unlimited ball rubs from sex-trafficked Eastern Bloc women who thought they were going to the West to become au pairs. Zone Number 4, A Bad Day at Black Rock, was assiduously planned. The organizers took great care to ensure that everyone arrived safely and that their essential human needs would be met while they were there. In other words, the event was put on by adults. Adults who, because they behaved like adults, are now not in prison. In fact, one of the first official acts taken during the planning of the event was done by Danger Ranger, a.k.a. Michael McKell. McKell was concerned that people would get lost in the desert, which can be a potentially fatal mistake. So he organized a group called the Black Rock Rangers to ensure everyone's safety and to de-escalate any conflicts between attendees. This event at Black Rock, by now renamed Now and Forever Burning Man, continued annually, growing bigger every year. And as one would assume, the bigger it got, the more difficult it became to manage. In 1996, a worker was killed in a motorcycle accident on his way to the festival. And on that same year, 2 campers were run over in their tent by some people headed to a nearby rave camp. This led co-founder John Law to leave the organization, insisting the event should no longer continue. But it did, with changes. By now, the event was drawing upwards of 8,000 people, and more than anything, the vehicles were causing environmental and safety issues. So the festival was moved to a private gated area, and with it, many new restrictions. No vehicles aside from bikes and specially designed mutant vehicles, which is a combination of a vehicle and an art installation, which must have a design submitted in advance to the DMV, the Department of Mutant Vehicles, and just Google Burning Man Praying Mantis Truck for an example. None of these vehicles could exceed 5 miles an hour. There are no fireworks, no animals, and all the burning of art structures must take place on a special burning platform for safety. Now, the hardcore said that this was ruining the festival, but all these changes were made to ensure that the festival could continue with its growing attendance numbers in a way that ensured comfort and safety for all participants. Because that's what you have to do. In fact, the new area came with a street grid. It is essentially a city unto itself. A city designed solely for the encouragement of artistic expression, which, if you think about it, is the fullest realization of the original mission statement of the Suicide Club of San Francisco and the Cacophony Society. Again, unlike the Fire Festival, which was an event based on making money, Burning Man has become more an annual community than an event, and it is a community governed by 10 principles. 1, radical inclusion. Anyone is welcome. As they say, we welcome and respect the stranger. 2, gifting. Burning Man is devoted to the act of gift giving. 3, decommodification. Burning Man is dedicated to creating a social environment unmediated by commercial sponsorships, transactions, or advertising. They resist the substitution of consumption in exchange of participatory experience, and we will return to this point in a moment. 4, radical self-reliance. Part of the decommodification of Burning Man means that shit isn't for sale. You can't just show up and buy your way into a comfortable weekend. You can't buy anything there. So you have to come ready and be ready to take care of yourself. Attending Burning Man isn't easy. That's part of the deal. Communal effort. It's a community. You are expected to work with and help your fellow participants. And civic responsibility. Quite simply, don't be an asshole. Leave no trace. Leave it the way you found it. Participation. Don't just watch. Take part. And lastly, immediacy. You go to Burning Man to be at Burning Man. Be in the moment. Live a little. Experience something. Challenge yourself. What's so striking about Burning Man is in its stated goals. It is the professed opposite of the Fire Festival on every level. It stands for everything the Fire Festival did not. Which is not to say that Burning Man hasn't had its ups and downs. In addition to the early participants who think it's been ruined since, well, ever. I saw this on The Simpsons. Whenever something is good, the minute it grows or changes in any way, it's ruined. You can read people bitching about The Simpsons in season 4, saying the show isn't what it was. How would that be possible? How can something stay what it is? Even rocks change. It's the nature of existence to constantly change. For one thing, one of the problems with Burning Man, its carbon footprint. Burning Man has a big-ass carbon footprint. And the Sierra Club specifically takes issue with the massive amount of plastic water bottles it leaves in landfills. And lately, and here's where we will wade into Firefest territory, gentrification. In other words, rich assholes. Burning Man had its origins in San Francisco, but it was the San Francisco of 1986. The San Francisco of today is a land of millionaires and billionaires. And while they are welcome to attend Burning Man, all are welcome, we respect the stranger, it's important that the stranger respect Burning Man. Try not to twist and mold it to your own lofty comfort restrictions. In other words, don't blow into town like a goddamn billionaire. There's been a growing problem with tech billionaires flying into Burning Man on private jets, moving into luxury campsites with air-conditioned trailers, servants, private bathrooms, basically a private, wealthy, gated community within the community at La Playa. It's a problem, and it is in direct opposition to the spirit of the event. So starting in this year, 2019, Marian Goodell, the CEO of the Burning Man Project, has issued an edict in an attempt to, as she says, course correct. This specified wealthy attendees, social media influencers, and models from using Burning Man to, quote, enhance their brand by thanking friends for loaning them certain products. De facto advertising used to get around the current stated ban on such. In addition, a ban on social media influencers specifically. Now, these are the same people who were the lifeblood of the entire Fire Festival con jobs. I'm talking about rat fuckers like Beige Cardigan and that cocksucker Fuck Jerry. People going to Burning Man so they could do nothing but fucking post and tweet about it, sliding in all sorts of bullshit endorsements. Thanks for the delicious snacks at Burning Man. Hashtag Cool Ranch Doritos for life. Go fuck yourselves. Now, while all of these people are welcome to attend Burning Man, they will now hopefully be actively encouraged to attend Burning Man in the way that Burning Man is intended. Leave all that shit back at the Ford Explorer that Ford gave you for posting on Instagram about how rad Ford Explorers were. In other words, no assholes. Isn't that a great way to at least try to approach your life? No assholes? Great story if it ends there, but you know it doesn't. But in the spirit of Burning Man, I'm not going to suggest you buy anything. But if you're into something, anything, why not celebrate yourself and give you a gift. And to do it, head on over to danagould.com, click on our Amazon banner, and go bananas. You get to give yourself a gift, and we get a couple shekels to keep the lights on here at Falcon's Lair Recording Studios. Hey, speaking of bananas, my graphic novel Planet of the Apes Visionaries is out. Artist Chad Lewis and I adapted Rod Serling's 1965 first draft screenplay for Planet of the Apes as a graphic novel. Similar to the movie, yet drastically different, the apes live in the equivalent of Ape New York, for starters. It's a great little read for Apes fans, or Rod Serling fans, or fans of mine, or better yet, all three. Anyway, go to danagould.com, click the link, and get yourself a copy. There are signed copies available. Lastly, let me speak for one brief moment about our Patreon feature. We've introduced a new Patreon feature, and I want to thank everybody who has signed up for it and encourage those who haven't to please do so. It took off, and I'm really grateful. This podcast is unique, and so is our Patreon feature. The way I do this podcast, I can't do it anymore, because the way I do it, I can't do any more of them, and I can't do them any more quickly without really changing the way the show has come to be what it is. And for now, at least, I don't want to change that. But because we only come out once a month, we have a hard time with advertisers who like shows to be weekly, and I can't really get onto a network, which alleviates a lot of the financial strain because the show is an odd length and it comes out at odd times. But for now, I still want to do it the way I'm doing it. And one way I can keep doing that is with the support of everybody who was kind enough to sign up for Patreon. We do one episode a month. The show comes out at some point in the last week of the month. It's close to 3 hours long, and I hope that that tied you over to the next month. With our Patreon feature, just $5 a month earns you the title Dana Gould Hour Sky Cadet. That is the price of a latte with tip. For this, you get access every month to extra videos, bonus audio content, behind-the-scenes videos of the recording of the show, etc., etc., etc. We wanted to make it worth your while, but not make it too burdensome, so there you go. Just go to danagould.com, click on our Patreon link, and for $5 a month, it's like I'm with you all the time. In the car, in the shower, on the toilet. Just you and me. All of the links for all of this nonsense can be found on danagould.com. Hey, are you tired of listening to this bullshit? Because I know I am.
With the world getting noisier and noisier, it's hard to find a nice quiet spot these days. And it's becoming harder. Even out here. Noise. There's no getting away from it. Right? Wrong. Because while everything's getting noisier, Ford cars stay quiet. Why? Because quiet cars come from strong cars. And Fords are built strong. Result? The 1971 LTD is one of the quietest riding Fords ever. Take a quiet break in the 1971 Ford. Ford gives you better ideas.
And now, on with the show.
Being a concierge was really, it was like the best job ever.
And you're only in your, because you're,
I should not have been doing it. I was like 20 when I started.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause you're not
I couldn't even go to bars.
You're still a kid.
And then once I was 21, I was like, this place is great. They have free peanuts. And I'm like talking to famous people. But when I first found out about it, it was because I became friends with the hotel concierge, who was a little older than me, and he would get all these free dinners and just take me with him. And it was like really cute, fun gay guy, nothing creepy. But I was like, so we just get all this stuff for free? And you would walk into a restaurant and they would be like, oh, wait, here's your table. And please sit down. And we're just, yeah, that's what you ordered, but we're just going to bring you some of this other stuff.
Right.
Just cause. And here's an amuse-bouche. Just cause.
Because they know that you were gonna...
Yes, because they wanted the concierges to recommend it to all their guests. But I was like we are like rock stars and we didn't even do anything. This is amazing. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And then I found out that also being a concierge means doing customer service, like being a waiter, but the people at the restaurant stay there overnight and live there for like a week. So it's a nightmare. You cannot get away from them.
Say that again?
Well, like, like being a bartender or waiting tables, you're dealing with people.
Oh, right.
But usually after like an hour, they get up and leave.
Right. Yeah. These people are there for
They're just there for a week.
Right.
It's terrible. So that made it less delicious.
And is this in the like the 90s, like the mid 90s?
No, this is early 2000s.
Early 2000s?
Yeah. And like sometimes
did anything bad happen in New York in the early 2000s, or was it always great?
No, I mean, it was always really great. We loved American flags and giving stacks of batteries to firemen. But yeah, that was about
Were
it.
You there on?
I was, yeah. That was real scary. And we had
downtown or uptown?
I was uptown. I was in Queens.
Oh, okay.
And then I had to go to work.
Yeah, you have to, that work's going.
Yeah. You don't shut down a hotel no matter what.
Yeah.
So you have to go there and tell people why they can't go see, anything in the city that day. And
were people pissed off?
It was wild for like years after people would show up and be like, yeah, okay, we want to see the ruins. How do we go? Is there anything to do down there? What is there to do? Can we see things? Are there rides? Is it fun? And I would be like, you are horrible Death Eaters. What are you talking about? There's a giant monument still being constructed. No, there's not fun to be had down there. I'm like, God, these people must have been great to their concierge at Auschwitz.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, is there anything fun down there?
Yeah, can we eat? Are there like places to take pictures? What do we do?
I just found some old publicity photos from 1993 on slides, and it's me and the World Trade Center's right behind.
Whoa!
I called this photo "Whoops."
Yeah.
And my first Showtime special was called Panic, Lust, and Confusion. It's from 90-something, 91 or 90 or 91. And it starts on a shot of the World Trade Center, and then it pans down to me.
Wow. With all this like 90s nostalgia, I'm surprised more people haven't been doing that as like a stylistic choice, Well,
here's the thing. Like, we can say it now. They were ugly buildings.
They were terrible. And I feel like they were sort of like this big, hard dick of corporate shit being like, look at what I can do. Look what we can build.
Well, somebody described it when they were built. It said it's not a building. It's a box a building comes in.
Yeah. But still sad.
But still sad. We're not saying we're glad it happened.
Just tear it down.
Still sad. Somebody had to say
it's ugly.
So then you were a concierge, and how did you? What was the freakiest? Outside of the nude guy,
the nude guy was pretty good. Well, when I first started, before I was a concierge, I was an operator. We still had operators in hotels back then.
You were on a switchboard.
It wasn't that complex, but basically it was like just two phones and you would just forward things. But in our little operator booth was the security camera, and it would flash from different thing to thing. So it'd be like front door, back door, hallway, gym, front door, back door, hallway, people fucking in the gym, front door, back door. And it was like, oh no, there are people in the gym. They're doing, and like, I remember everybody ran in and was like watching, and I was like, we have to send someone up there. And they were like, what are you talking about, weirdo? No, we don't. We have to sit here and watch it. And I'm like, no, it's not allowed. We have to do something. Yeah. So yeah, I was such a Pollyanna. Like, all of working in hotels was just so much cocaine and sex, but then also Eliza being like, did we fill out our forms? Like, I did not realize what was happening half of the time. I was not party to most of it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I guess there is a lot of, especially in those overnight shifts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
hey, how you doing?
Yeah. I went through a little run of that was when my insomnia started really bad, and
You're preaching to the choir now. You're married. You have a child.
Yes.
Then the situation becomes untenable.
Yes.
And you get divorced.
Yes.
Acrimonious?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Is that a good word?
Yeah.
Does that mean fun?
Uh-huh.
Always.
Yeah.
I think that's
Sure.
normal.
Yeah. Otherwise, why would you do it?
Right.
Yeah. That's when you hear about an amicable divorce, you go, well, that's stupid.
Yeah, true.
Was it like a War of the Roses thing between you guys? Were you like
There was
throwing
never
clothes out
there was
onto the
never
lawn?
like that. But see, to those, I think that those divorces, because people that like, we never, my ex-wife and I never had screaming, because I think that's more of a surface anger that passes. We just had a lot
of
this
seething.
game. No, it's just like the game. This game. This is like. This is done. Yeah, it was like, yeah.
Yes, I think a real
It's like
breakup
finding
would
a
probably
dead
be.
dog. It's like finding your dog died at night. Like, hey, he's not moving. That's as Scott Davis gets older. That's our favorite game: napping or dead.
Scott Davis.
Don't listen, Scott Davis.
Scott Davis? Scott?
Scott's just
You
an
okay?
angry old Mexican man.
Aw.
Yeah. I have an
From the name, I can
we
tell
have
he's
an old
Mexican.
German Shepherd, who basically I'm setting about an $800 value on him.
Life's complicated, man.
Yeah.
Gets
It
more
is.
complicated the longer you're in a life.
You know what? Yeah, that's true. And I did this morning. Like, I'll just think of something that hasn't really happened, and I'll get genuinely angry over it.
Yeah.
I've been there. Or hasn't happened yet. I get mad about stuff that's going to happen
Paul
later.
wakes up like a Yorkie, ready to kill.
Every morning I'm
this
like,
morning.
come on.
You were mad.
Yeah, I do. Well,
It's mad.
I don't know what it is. I sense other people in our age group feeling
It's
similar
an age
things.
thing.
Of
Is that why there's so many angry old people?
Yeah.
you know why?
Yeah.
Because you're tired of being other people's bitches.
But I think it's like that Steve Martin
think
thing.
you're
Like, you
over
just
it,
know you
saying-
know what they're doing. Like, I know where this goes.
Yes, I've been here for 20 years already. All my friends are in the same mental space. These writer guys, mostly, who are just they're like going like, "What am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I going to put my time into?"
Right.
I don't even think it's a writer thing. I think it's an age thing generally because everybody is looking at some part of their life and going, "This isn't where it was supposed to be." Some people are
That's
talking about
natural.
relationships or health or their kids or their life. It's just I think it's just an age thing.
It's also and there's also the realization that you hit at a certain age. We're like, oh, this is it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Won that lotto.
I look at photos.
Oh, that was the top of the mountain.
Well, yeah, like I see photos of me when I was younger, and I think, oh, I didn't know what my life was going to be like.
Right.
Now I do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There was the
This is
This is it.
This is it.
the blind hope that you believed.
Yeah, the foolish optimism.
But you have to have some of that to still stay in the business. You have to be a little blindly optimistic.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah,
But it's just a little bit harder sometimes.
Now it's cautiously optimistic.
well, it's like it's like
I'm cautiously pessimistic.
cautious pessimism.
Yes.
That's the way to be.
Yeah.
But there's also that sense of like, if I can, it's like I'm not optimistic about being a giant star, but I am optimistic about I might make my nut this month.
Yes. That's it, man.
That'd be great. I can come home to
Totally
this house and it'll
satisfying.
still be mine. At the end of the
100%
day.
satisfying and
Yeah.
awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
And you have to enjoy your.
We're not asking for a lot.
My life is really so much better than it was really likely to have been when I was young. Coming from where I came from.
Right.
So much better. And yet still it's unsatisfying. I mean, I think that's just the nature of life. You realize, that's not, it's way better than I anticipated.
See, I think sometimes my problem is that sitting on a couch with an ice cream cone is really all I need.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
That's the problem. Is there's so much that interferes with that.
Well, here's a question. Here's a question. It's true that you say that, and then you look at so many people in America are addicted to opioids.
Right.
It's because what we have just isn't enough.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
It's like, there's got to be something else, or give me a break.
Yeah.
Or give me a break from realizing there isn't enough.
Yeah.
I could
go
fog me out a little bit.
Yeah. There are many reasons that, that has happened.
Yeah.
Well, there's also
some of it is by design.
But it's being
an industry that profited by addicting people to
They're
it.
pushing people into it.
Yeah.
It's too easy to get to everywhere.
Yeah. No, but they won't. It's so funny.
But our day it was alcohol. You know,
But fortunately, because
I still like a glass of wine.
Jackie's drunk now.
Yeah.
But fortunately, because most of the opioid addicts are white, the solution is not to throw them in prison.
Jail. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We have to come up with a different way.
Let's help them.
These people are white.
These people have problems.
Yes.
It's a medical condition.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
respectable.
Yeah.
No, it's really
drug addicts.
It's really disgusting.
You know what? The old school drug addicts, they should have thought about being white.
That would have worked. Yeah.
That was their first mistake. That was their first mistake.
I'm working on this. There's still, it's amazing with all of the opioid addicts, you still find old-fashioned winos.
Do you?
Old-fashioned
winos. Really?
And I'm working with an organization. We have a passenger van, and we go down to Skid Row, and we get these winos off of Skid Row.
This sounds terrifying so far.
Well, then we bring them up to Napa Valley, to the wine country, and we re-release them into their natural habitat.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Much in the way like you take a lion out of the zoo.
Does the back of the van just open up and they just scatter out? They just scatter
like crazy? They're home again.
But there's always one left in there that won't come out.
Well, imagine those lions that have been in a zoo all day, leaving the start getting like, right. Where are you guys going?
It's cold out there.
It's 4:00. Where's Rusty with my steak?
Where's my butler?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really true. It's like, this isn't an act.
Wait a second. I had it good.
Yeah. Especially like a male lion that doesn't want to do anything anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
It's just hanging out.
Yeah,
just wants to have fun.
Females to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Would you bring me?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the weirdest days at The Simpsons ever, we were sitting in the writer's room, and Jim Brooks had an office in the building, and when he wasn't doing a movie, he would just be at his office. One day, we're all sitting in there, and Jim Brooks comes in, and he goes, "You got to see something. You guys got to see something." So we look at each other like, okay. We all get up and we all go into Jim's office. And on his computer screen is a picture of a male lion just looking straight ahead, like just bored and the female lion is literally roaring into his ear.
Oh, I know that photo.
And the male lion just did that. And Jim goes, "That's it." Because this is look at that picture. Look at that.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Do you know they made prostitution legal in Germany about 12 years ago? This is what this documentary was about.
Yeah.
And some guy opened up the Walmarts of these things, of brothels, and then everybody, all the women were all empowered, and they would all come from other countries to work there. And everybody was like, protesting, give them legalize sex workers. Anyway, I just read that the guy who ran it just got 5 years in prison for sex trafficking. So he was filling his places with trafficked girls the whole time.
And why were you Googling brothels in Germany?
It was a Netflix documentary. It's not like I found it on YouTube.
Going to Germany next month.
Yeah.
Oddly enough,
but
booked a ticket to Berlin.
Anyway, it was like a 20-minute documentary, but it was very fascinating. That you watch it and you go, they're all going to go to jail. There's no reason, but it should be legal.
In Amsterdam, where drugs and prostitution is legal, most of the people who live in Amsterdam don't really partake of it. Like they do.
It's a tourist thing.
Yeah, it's just because once it's all legal.
So was the Germany thing. It was all like tourists coming from all over the world.
Once it's all the verboten aspect of it is gone, whatever.
Right.
But also, I think it's about what we choose to value and what we don't value. And it's like why is it a healthier thing to turn to professionals for laughter?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Than for an orgasm. Like, why is that not? Why are they not equally healthy?
Well, the way I do. Well, the way I do stand up.
It's mostly orgasms.
Very little laughter.
Your shows are a mess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
At the end.
It's me and Gallagher.
Yeah.
You will get wet.
Yeah, I had to put 3 tokens in to see your entire act.
Yeah.
I'm melon crazy in the worst possible way. So you guys get back together and you live in the same house again.
Yeah, with our daughter.
Was that weird when you like? Was it so subtle that you didn't notice, or was like, okay, I guess we're gonna date again?
Well, it was New Year's Eve. We
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. We were at Crissy's cousins in Florida for New Year's Eve, and we just basically New Year's Eve just sort of said, "Oh, maybe we should just try this."
Well, no. To be fair, you actually asked me, would you like to start dating?
Yeah,
and I think I said, I think we're past that. I don't think we can actually date.
Yeah,
it's kind of it's like an all or nothing.
Yeah,
you're in or you're out.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a slow evolution of vacationing together for Alina all the time and being able to.
And how was your daughter?
I think a key factor, if you don't mind me saying, was the fact that Dave quit drinking 4 years ago. And
so
alcohol.
So you're a quitter.
He doesn't drink anything.
Still a comic.
Although I do remember one sort of humorous part. They were very good at and very comfortable with being with us and with their daughter and vacationing and being together as a family. And then you went and did one of your shows, Crissy, that was out of town in a hotel situation, and there was no daughter, and it was just the two of you. Do you remember that? At where were you? And it was like you had a sleepover.
I was there under the bed.
That's true.
And I believe the song lyric goes, and the next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire.
That was Brooklyn.
You and Jackie, you got married. How old you were? You've been together.
We'll be together 30th year.
Yeah.
We got together in 89.
Yeah, you're really good at being a couple.
Yeah.
From the public view. I don't know.
No, we are. We communicate.
Yeah.
And also I like who she is. She likes who I am.
That's a big part.
Very important.
Sure. To like each other.
To honestly.
Yeah,
not to, like to honestly like who she is.
Be a fan.
Yes, I'm a huge fan.
To be a fan of
but
who they are.
The way I see it, I'm way out of my league.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's
I could have
cool.
told you that.
Yeah. So I'm like, don't question it.
Right.
Too much. Because then she'll realize it. And also just don't think everything's supposed to be a certain way and perfect. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, this isn't what I want.
What about your parents?
They were married until he died.
They had a good relationship?
Yeah, they did. They were one of those couples that stayed married while a lot of their friends got divorced.
Yeah.
So
see, I think
they did 25 or 30 years.
He died at 60, so.
He died at 60, but they did 25, 30, almost 30 years.
They really hardly tested it.
No. I honestly, I found out later. After he was long, he died when I was a kid. I was
going to leave him.
Yeah. I found out later from my old mother that, we had lots of problems.
Sure. My parents
we should have left.
Roommates and have been forever, still are.
Right.
But I think that we're all dinged up.
Yeah.
Sure.
From that way.
My father was.
It's collateral damage, man.
Because look at me. I got nothing. This is it. I got. I'm going to be. This is.
You got the Falcon's Lair.
You know how I die? It's the ending of Little Big. I'm going to die the way that shot Scatman Crothers in The Shining, just looking terrified. That's going to be me. Yeah. That's. Yeah. That's. There's nothing good happening for me in the future.
I don't even know what. I know what marriage isn't more than I know what it is.
Well, I know. I think we're back. I think I never stopped loving Crissy. I realize, over the
me
years.
neither. We should probably have that conversation.
We'll talk later.
Yeah, and Crissy eventually gave up on finding anyone better.
Right. Well, that's what I used to say about my.
True.
That's what I used to say about my the woman I was dating was like, it's always great when you meet someone when they're ready to settle. And then you find out, turns out they're not.
It's true.
that was when my insomnia started really bad. And
you're preaching to the choir now.
And then I got a crush on one of the overnight guys. And so I would just call up the hotel in the middle of the night and be like, hey, is Gino there? Yep. Can't sleep again. What are you guys doing? And just chat with this guy who like hardly knew me.
Right.
But he became my middle of the night friend.
Oh yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's awful that you're up. But,
that's the story of my adult life.
Yeah. Now, do you have a hard time? Like still?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's my, Achilles heel.
Yeah. Yeah. I go through runs where like it gets better. Mm-hmm. Recently it had gotten better for a while and then got worse again. And now I'm trying to get back on track, like with the few things that I'm like, okay, these things work out. And basically a lot of it is normally I'm like, okay, 7:30, time for bed, where I'm just like block out a crazy long time and start getting ready to go to bed a lot earlier instead of just being like, oh shit, oh, it's midnight. Just fall into the bed. And
that's your sleep hygiene.
Yes, exactly. Trying to get better about sleep hygiene.
Now, do you take anything?
Right now I'm taking a CBD THC edible.
Yeah, my friend uses CBD oil, and says they have a lot of success with it.
Yeah, I do a little bit of the indica with it also.
Night?
Yeah.
See, when I have I go in. I don't have it all the time, but when every couple of years now. I'll get it, and it's multi-day. It's violent.
Oh, so it like builds up.
Yeah, it's like
compounds.
Yeah, yeah, and so I can't have that happen.
Yeah.
So I take Klonopin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes two.
Ooh, for the exciting nights.
Yeah, I've taken. Like it would knock out I have to take like rhino tranquilizers.
Wow,
but it works. So that's and then you can. But then it allows you have to deal with the other crap. I just had one, and last month I had a little bout.
Yeah.
And it went away. And honestly, it's so weird. I had
Well, I was going to ask, do you have problems getting to sleep, or do you go to sleep and then you wake up?
Getting.
Okay.
Like, I'll lie down, rapid heartbeat.
Wow. Yeah. I wake up once I'm already asleep. And
can't get back.
Yeah, I can't get back to sleep, but at least I'm very proud of myself. Now I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm awake. I know I'm probably not going to get back to sleep. And it used to be, oh God, what? Who's after me? What's happening? And then like I have no trauma to associate with it, but I would just literally wake up like I was being chased, and then would have to like come down from that and then be like, well, I'm definitely up now.
And what time would this be? 4 or 5?
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime. I mean, kind of any time, but if it happened early enough in the evening, then I would be like, well, this is part of the going to sleep ritual. And if it happened very late, like around 6 a.m., I'd be like, that's not a terrible time to be awake. But yeah, if it was happening from like 2:30 to 4:30, then I was like, this is really bad.
Yeah. There's no worse feeling. And yes, there are many worse feelings.
Yeah.
But when you just don't sleep a wink and you get up. Like, well,
that
was that. Fuck that. And then you're like, and it's still the day before for you. Mm-hmm. Everybody else has slept, and I'm still in Tuesday.
I was trying to think, describe what the physical feeling of it was the other day, where it's like
dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Your body.
But and also turned inside out. Yeah, like if you wore a pair of underpants turned inside out.
It's the fucking worst.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's like the rough side of something. Anything that has a smooth side and a rough side, it's that rough side.
Yep. I had my last year was really was incredibly busy and high strung and stressed out all year.
And that's when it usually happens?
No. Usually I work really well under pressure. It's my normal phase.
Mm-hmm.
And then end of the year, had a little bout of it. And then now, I mean, I'm busy, but nothing is set yet. And I'm kind of assembling what the next
project.
Yeah. Phase of my income is going to be. And, putting together the year. And I've never really been in where I've never really been in this situation where like kind of everything stopped at once, which, you know, it's fine. But for whatever reason, I cannot tell you why, cannot explain it. I've never been more relaxed.
Huh.
I've never been more at ease. I, knock wood, sleep like a fucking baby.
I think that makes sense.
And I'm just like, and I'm like, I could be stressed out, like, hey, well, I don't have a giant job yet. I have stuff coming in, and I've actually watched television. Sat on my couch and watched television
for pleasure.
Yeah,
not research.
No, I mean, I would have to do like if I was going to watch television, it would have to be research, and I was doing
something else at the same time. Yeah,
and I just like, nope, I'm just going to watch television.
That makes sense to me because I feel like a lot of times there's like a clarity in that. Like I also have an inflammatory immune disease thing that's basically one of the many things that's your body attacking itself.
Yeah.
And it does that when it doesn't have other things to attack. Right. And I think a lot of anxiety is your brain doing the same thing.
Sure.
Like your brain being like, well, I know I need to worry about something.
Fight or flight.
Yeah. Like for me, it's like I will feel anxious and then, or whatever feeling, and then my brain will like look for things to attach it to instead of just like,
sure,
this is a vibration that your brain does a lot.
Yep.
And I think that when you're in a situation where you're like, oh, I actually do have stuff I need to figure out, then you can be like, okay, I know that's where my question marks are. And when I'm focused on it, I can be focused on it. And when I'm not, I can put it away instead of your brain being like, or like, where it's coming from someplace. I know it's going to come from someplace. Where is it?
When I would have insomnia, I would get the thought like, I'm never going to sleep again. This is how I die.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God.
Whatever in my brain, how that goes to sleep, that's broken. That doesn't work anymore. I'm just going to stay awake until I die of exhaustion.
Wow.
And now, excuse me, now when I have that thought, there's a part of me that goes, yes, that's a thought. That's a thought that you're having. It's a thought.
Just a thought.
It's just a thought that you're having.
You're not that smart. You don't know what's going to happen.
But it is, and you get up like, yeah, well, all right, I'm awake. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Catastrophizing.
Yes.
Is what it's called. And I've always excelled at it from the age of about 8. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Actually 5.
I was always really obsessed with like nuclear war and cults. That wasn't really that though, but like any kind of, oh gosh, this could happen. This could happen to us. We're all going to die. Like I went to see The Kid Who Would Be King recently. Have you seen it?
No.
I liked it.
Is Patrick Stewart in it?
He is. Yeah. I thought it was real cute, real charming, but it's for real scary. And halfway through it, the family next to me, not even halfway through it, like maybe a quarter into it, family sitting next to me, my friend, got up and left. And I was like, that makes sense. That was legit scary. And I'm a grown up and those were some kids. But a part of me
is scary, like the movie Anaconda.
I did not see Anaconda. Scary like Time Bandits.
Why are we talking?
Is that what this podcast is about? Is this an all Anaconda podcast?
The all Anaconda podcast.
Oh, I would have watched it. Oh,
Scary like Time Bandits.
Yeah.
Scary and Time Bandits.
Well, I remember being scared about like, is this kid ever gonna get home and what's happening with his parents and the parents are like coal.
Right. That was what was brilliant about Spirited Away is that her parents had turned into pigs. So they weren't missing her. That I always think about.
So it wasn't sad.
Right.
But
Spirited
also
Away is, have you ever seen it?
I have, but like not for a long time.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't really remember it. Now I should see it again. But also they're like fiery demon thing. So it's that kind of scary too. And part of me is like, is it good?
Does he do like one or two Picard? He should still do like a Picard thing. Like, even though it's
like, make it so.
Yeah. Just like Earl Grey, hot. Like just talk to the wall.
He's great. And also he was in Excalibur. So I kind of like that, like, He had like he had an under 5 in Excalibur, whatever they call it. And look at him now, Merlin.
Did he have hair in Excalibur? I think he was born. I was going to say, I think he was.
I think he was bald.
We are all born.
I'm
bald.
pretty sure. Yeah, what a loser! You didn't even have hair when you were born, nerd. Virgin.
Virgin.
My dad was a alcoholic. Horrible. Also borderline personality disorder. But
I'll stop you when something sounds unfamiliar.
Yeah. But on the other hand, my mother was English, so they both had their faults.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Her fault was being English.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So neither of them was capable of love.
Right.
Sure.
Completely shut off.
Yeah. It's like being you basically just said from Massachusetts.
Or anywhere in Canada.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Canada's like a very big Massachusetts.
Exactly. It is, yeah. My mother, as I was trying to describe my mother to somebody the other day, I was like, she would describe Pearl Harbor as, well, some people have planes and some people have boats, and it's really none of my business. Yeah. My favorite story is a guy I know never told his dad he loved him. And they didn't have that conversation. And finally, in his 20s, he said, Dad, I love you. And his father went, hey. No problem.
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. And
that's fantastic.
I totally
But I feel like that's him saying, I love you. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, my mom,
as far as he can go.
When my kids would go to my mother and say, Grandma, I love you, my mother's response was always, oh, what do you want?
Wow.
Yeah.
When my dad died, we weren't a physical family. My brothers, we all looked at each other, and my dad's literally being lowered into the ground. I'm 14. We all looked at each other, and the kind of family I come from is when the more horrible something is, the more we laugh.
I understand
at it.
that. Yeah.
So I actually think we may have snickered at how horrible this situation was. We were like, I'm like a fucking kid.
Yeah.
I've got these two ridiculous brothers. Yeah. And we just looked at each other and goes, I guess we're supposed to hug now.
Yeah.
And ever since, we hugged constantly.
Yeah.
But it was like, we made the choice to get out of our comfort zone and do it. You know what I mean?
My dad would hug and kiss you on the mouth.
That's not right, Dave.
Yeah. And,
Are you sure your father's not?
Is that Are you sure that was your dad?
He was Irish.
Would he lovingly cup the back of your head? I mean,
how dark was it in the room when he would do this?
But I'm saying, but there was he would do that, but then have no real attachment.
Was he your father or a father?
He was
Father Doyle would come by. And,
Paul and I were together for 5 years, and he was on the phone with his mother, who was making him crazy as usual. And as
we're not an I love you family.
Hanging up the phone, I looked at him and I mouthed, "She's gonna die. Tell her you love her." And he looked at me like I was crazy. I went, "She's gonna die soon." About
she said
20
that
years
to me.
before she died. So he went, "Okay, bye. Love you, Mom."
And my mom immediately started crying.
Really?
And she went, "I love you too." And every day we saw each other. Whenever we saw each other, it was always "I love you." After that, but it took her making me do it, and me not fighting her, and saying, "Okay, I'll do it."
They're going to die before they die.
By the way, she did die.
Yeah, well, my mom's now.
She was right.
My mom's mental health is severely limited, and we had a really good. Again, I just laugh at it. We had a really good conversation. We had a really good conversation the other day. It was one of the best conversations we'd had in a long time. And in the conversation, she asked, "Are you still in business with Steve?"
Who's Steve?
I don't know. Sure, yeah. And then she thanked me for driving her to Virginia last week.
Oh, well, that's nice. She thanked you. That's happy.
But it really takes the pressure off me when I call. It's me, the talking box of graham crackers. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, my dad's in the same place. And we have conversations on loops.
Yeah, it makes Christmas shopping.
It's the same.
Our parents too.
Your dad is that you get to really refine your end of the conversation.
Sure, it's like Groundhog Day.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just know that
an improv game.
For Christmas shopping, it's easy. I just call up on the 27th. Do you like the necklace? What's she going to say?
I'm always telling people whose parents aren't dead how great is when they are. It's just fantastic. When your parents are dead. I mean, the transition is rough.
Sure.
But once you get used to it, dead parents are the best.
Well, here's what I feel.
Old dead parents.
There's no one to disappoint.
Yeah.
That's how I feel now that I'm kind of, I have my children who I'm very
You'll be able to disappoint them
fond of.
right, but I'm not. I'm good at that. I'm good at parenting.
Yeah.
So my kids are great, and we're also friends. I don't worry about disappointing them outside of the way that I have to normally disappoint them because I'm their dad.
Mm-hmm.
But like not being in a relationship, like I come home and there's no one I've let down.
There's the dogs. There's the dogs.
No, I feed them the minute I feed them, and they're good.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I have let down no one today.
Wow.
Pretty good feeling.
Who do you talk to when you're having a shitty moment and you're in a pit and you feel like, and you don't really want to tell certain people how you're really feeling? Who do you talk to then?
Twitter, right?
Twitter.
Because you don't want to put that on your kids.
No, I don't. I don't.
So who do you have someone you?
The mirror.
What I'm saying is you can call me.
Myself.
That's what I'm saying.
You're very sweet. No, I work out and I go to hot yoga or I run a couple miles.
Good for you.
I have I just physically
and you feel better afterwards.
Obliterate myself.
Because I yesterday had a weep. Because I
have like friends that I
I mean obviously I have Paul, I have lots of friends, but there's something about a mother in my case that you could say you could really just go there.
I think that's late. I think that's a girl.
Well,
honestly,
yeah. So
that's not a boy. It's not the same thing.
Mothers always believe.
And actually, let me give you the answer again. Ask me that question again. I'll give you the real answer.
Who do you go to when you feel like you're in a bit of a pit? Who's the person you talk to?
Pornhub. Yeah,
so you do talk to me.
Yeah, I just angrily rub one out and I'm fine.
Yeah. You're
and that's the response.
Man.
Somebody,
you're going to get out of that pit.
This is not my joke, and I don't remember whose joke it is, but it's brilliant. It says a lot about men that when they are experiencing the peak of physical pleasure, they sound like this.
Angry.
Yeah.
When I come,
I'll murder everybody.
See, when I come, I go, oh, not again.
When I come, I go, what's happening to my body?
But here's
what you talking about, Willis.
When I masturbate,
what you talking about, Willis? Oh.
When I masturbate to Pornhub, I like to send a thank you note. When
that's because you're Canadian. That's what Canadians do.
And not online. I mail a card.
Oh my God, that is so. That's because you were raised properly, Dave.
That's a Canadian. I hope it's in cursive. Is it in cursive?
I don't know. It's not
Fondly.
David
Foley.
All due regards.
Yes.
David Foley.
As ever.
Yeah.
David Foley.
In appreciation for your kind services.
Yes.
Thank you for the video. I had no idea people were that friendly in Marina Del Rey.
Dear David Foley, I do appreciate your handwritten note, so I in turn am going to send one to you.
I can't help noticing that the lesbians on your website don't look like the lesbians in my city.
Yes, or madam.
They do look like the junior college students.
But I always stupid baby. I always think now, like, kids aren't exposed to scary stuff for the most part. The entertainment made for them doesn't have stuff. Right. And a lot of times when it's re-released, they'll have like Sesame Street, when they re-released the original episodes of that, there was a warning on it. It was like, this is not suitable for children.
Really?
Yeah. And my like old lady self is like, well, they should be scared. It was good for them to be scared. It's what made me me. I wouldn't be me without the scary movies I saw too young. And then on the other hand, I'm like, also, you don't sleep. And you're terrorized by your own thoughts. Maybe it's okay. Maybe that is a good thing to keep them from that.
But see, I wonder, because I have glutted myself on scary movies, and they don't scare me even.
No, they don't scare me.
Yeah.
But there's some sort of like spine vibe that it's like, why do I wake up, when I wake up at 7 a.m. go, this will be soothing. for me to watch this horror movie I've never seen. Oh, You're Next. That's a good 8 a.m. movie. Mm-hmm. That's weird. And it's not actually soothing. I think I don't know how to actually relax and be soothed. And so I'm this is comfortable for me.
Do you ever do meditation or yoga or anything like that?
No, I do Pilates. And I take walks and listen to music.
Good. One of the things that I've started doing is I again, since this kind of new, end of the year.
This new you, this
no, that's
crystals and
no, but I started. I mean, I do a lot of physicals, and I started doing like this aggressive, hot yoga class. Yeah, where it's like 95 degrees in the room, and you die for an hour, and like literally, when you're done, you are wrung out.
Yeah,
I mean, like you literally have to change shirts to get it out. It is just
drink a bunch of water.
Yeah. And I find it just physically exhausts you.
Yeah.
And I did TM. I found TM was very, very helpful.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I should, I suppose. But also, I find that when I am exercising regularly and just like connecting my brain with my body a little bit more, it does a lot of that for me.
Here's the great thing about TM. In the way that there is a room of demons in your mind that you're afraid of.
Right, I know them, yes.
Sure.
Lots of them.
TM shows you that there is a room of calm and serenity in your mind that you can check in and go to this place and it will chill you out.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's great. It's hard to do. It takes a lot of discipline. You have to do it twice a day for 20 minutes.
Ugh.
But when I'm really doing it, I get good at it. And you can feel your body like when you're really tuned to TM. 20-minute meditation is like a 45-minute nap.
I have heard that. Yeah.
You can feel your muscles release.
Yeah, but you got to pay like $2,000.
I think it's $1,000. I think it's $1,000. $1,000 and a white handkerchief.
What? You have to give them the white handkerchief, or you get the white handkerchief?
You give it to them.
Wow. Okay. Weird.
Yeah. But no, it's all sorts of there's many ways to come to chill out.
Yeah. I need to get better at. I think part of our conversation started with the voice lessons when I did. I took a voice lesson to get in shape for recording music, and a lot of it was about just breathing and about like learning how to relax my throat and my vocal muscles and all of that stuff, because I hold so much tension there.
It's right here. So shoulders and neck and shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I get it.
I also used to hold it. I used to get the like horrible, just like cramps. Like just my. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, maybe if I had some, I would have transferred some stress there, but.
If you had some Wasn't that song? Isn't that a song in The Wizard of Oz? If I only had some
bowels. Yeah. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, I do have some. Yeah. It's every part of me. But when it got into my.
I've had every stress.
Oh my God. That. Yeah. When it got into my jaw this past year is when I was like.
Yeah, we're frighteningly similar.
Yeah. I was like, I gotta
When's your birthday?
May.
Okay.
When's yours?
I was just terrified we had the same birthday. Oh my God.
It's yeah, no, my jaw like popped out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I thought about for a while, I was thinking about getting Botox in my jaw because I hear that that's a thing that people do, and it's like it solves everything. And so I kept reading about it, and it was like, also my smile doesn't look like a smile anymore. And I was like, well, that's not at all worth it. No, thank you.
Do you have a guard? Do you have a bite guard?
No, I think I'm gonna get one of those.
You're not doing anything.
I know. Well, that one, the jaw thing is newer-ish. Well, also it takes me too long to do anything about stuff. I'm like, I'll figure it out.
You can buy one tonight at CVS, but go to your dentist.
But those aren't good, right?
No. Go to your dentist. I have one. Get a bite guard.
Yeah.
good for you.
My mom told me to start using it to just bite down on a washcloth, and I'm like, that is definitely the wrong answer.
Was your mom a Civil War medic?
Yeah. And she was like, get someone with a rusty blade to dig the bullet out. I was like, we're not talking about the same thing here.
So that get a bite guard. It sounds like you're doing the CBD oil, exercise. It sounds like you're on your way.
Yeah, I'm a lot better. Ooh, also my little trick is for my sleep hygiene. I have a little heating pad that I put in my bed, and I turn it on before I go to bed. And I have a little diffuser, and I get all that going, and like nice lighting.
Sure.
And this is the bad part: a mug of hot cocoa.
Oh, and jack yourself up with sugar.
Jacks me up a little bit with sugar, but I realized I needed something that was like, you need a treat. You had a whole day and you wrote a bunch of funny stuff for some not funny men to say on TVs. Look at you. You get a little cocoa.
Sure. That's understandable.
Yeah. I needed some sort of treat.
I bought like my daughter had this fur blanket, like this fake fur blanket, and it was. We came home from a trip. We were skiing. We came from a trip. We got home really late, and the laundry hadn't been done. There was no. She's like, fuck. I was too tired. I just grabbed my daughter's blanket off the bottom of her bed. I'll just sleep under this.
It was going to be that, or just like a pile of rags.
Yeah, no, it was. And it was the greatest thing. It was like a baby kangaroo in a pouch. And I immediately bought one. And I don't use a sheet anymore. I just have this blanket and the comforter. And I go to bed every night. I'm trying to find a way to rig it up so I can drink milk from a bottle. And I have those two little weird. When my kids aren't here, I have those two weird dogs. And we all get in the bed, or I'll have a couple kids with me. And we just,
whoever wants. Whoever wants in.
It's a family. Anybody in there. It's great. Did you go on and when you were single, was that before apps?
They came out. I briefly went on. I tried Tinder briefly. I tried Tinder and I was on it until I was flipping through and a picture came up of someone I worked with. And I immediately,
Scott Thompson.
It's like immediately, and I deleted the app and threw the phone in the river.
Sure, I understand that. Yeah,
I'm always seeing people I know on Grindr.
Yeah, I've never been on it. One.
You know, there's one for 50 and over now. Did you see that? I saw an ad for it.
Wrinkle? Is that
Wrinkle?
Me TV
Wrinkle.
Fan?
The End. I think it's called The End.
The End? Yeah. It's called The Back Nine.
Yeah. 2 Minute Warning.
Yeah.
It's but I just saw the ad. I pointed it out to you. It was all gray-haired people.
Silver,
I don't
it was all gray-haired people.
Why are you doing that to me?
Yeah.
Oh,
why do I have to do that?
No, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm saying I saw it on TV. Eh?
Would you be?
I don't want to do it.
Don't do it.
I don't know how else
I could never do it.
Because we are of a time
Church?
I think you should do it.
Before, well, usually it's friends, right, that set you up with people. Is that how, or you just meet people? You're out a lot.
You need a Jackie.
Yeah, but you play.
Yeah, I don't have that.
We're gonna
we'll get right on that.
I was the 10 years that I was single. I was very
I'm
careful
so full
to
of hate.
never ever get into any kind of a relationship.
Smart. Yeah,
I don't understand. Like people like
I just get it.
Divorced and they get a girlfriend right away.
That's me.
What are you doing?
3 years.
The worst thing in the world to do.
I did it because I don't know how to.
I think that's very common for men to do that.
I never
So you've
dated.
had a couple of girlfriends since you.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah,
How come I didn't?
3 years, 9 months, and about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I had
all of them batshit lunatics. No,
yeah.
One of them was a badge. I will cut all this, but
I didn't really date.
Well, how come I always
that's what people call it.
yeah, you
That's
were
called
a man
dating,
about
Dave.
town.
You
Dave,
go
that's-
out and then sleep with somebody.
That's called
8
dating.
times, that's dating.
That's called dating, Dave.
He didn't date. He did.
Yeah. But there was
Okay.
I was never like
'Cause I met
in
a
a
couple,
relationship.
I think you're
with
I think you're trying to
Exclusively
pretend
dating.
you're
I'm
not.
confused.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
All right, here's the question. It's a genuine question. This is not faux naivete. You go out with somebody, you have an interesting evening, you spend the night,
Yeah.
and then the next day you don't owe them anything, and I'm not like in terms of like I'll call you today at work. Did you see? To me, I'm like, do you need tires? What do you need? How do I fix? I'm Mr. Find a bird with a broken wing.
Yeah, that's all right.
Then I'll become indispecible.
I dream about that last
and
night.
then,
but you know what? There's someone out there that wants
that you don't love me. You need me, and so you'll never leave. And they always do.
How's that worked out for you?
Again, I'm beginning to think there's a flaw in my logic.
Yeah.
That plan that's never worked? I'm going to give it one more try.
When I was young, I used to wonder what a girlfriend would be like. And my image of a girlfriend would be me sitting on a couch and her sitting on the couch and us not talking and watching TV.
That's Dave's idea.
And feeling like this person likes me and I don't have to talk to her if I don't feel like it.
That's a perfect relationship.
Yeah. But to me, that was perfect.
You don't have to talk.
That was perfect where I don't have to do anything to keep this going that doesn't feel
sort of food?
natural.
Isn't it healthier?
There's food on TV trays.
Isn't it healthier to have a very intense relationship with an unavailable person that's solely based on the internet?
Much healthier. I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's more convenient.
Then I'm done.
Right.
Yeah.
The internet scares me because nothing is real.
Yeah.
Nothing is real. No.
Yeah.
I would be petrified to go on a dating site. I would think it's nothing but rape and murder.
Yeah.
Unless that's what you're looking for. That's what you're thinking, That's what you're thinking.
I like
you can
rape
find
and
it.
murder, but only if I'm doing the rape and murder.
Well, there's Victim, VYCTM is a great news site.
I mean, it's like the worst the worst dating app I ever didn't use is Fisters. No. That's the worst dating app of all.
I'm on Brimley, which is you go out with Wilfred Brimley.
That's it? How does he have the time?
Yeah. Where are you? I'm here. What are you wearing? I hope you're not wearing that brown
You're
jacket,
paying for dinner, right?
Mine.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have oatmeal for dinner. We're having oatmeal.
I don't know. If we hadn't gotten back together, I don't know if I might have tried like eHarmony in another few years.
Well, they say
something like that.
Or Bumble, they said, is good because it takes the creep out of it.
So you're saying I ruined your plan?
I'm just saying that I was going to get, when I was going to give up.
Bumble?
See, that's
Bumble?
right. And I know we're getting it.
But I like the don't you of dating sites? Tell us about Bumble.
I don't know. I don't know. But Bumble is one where the woman makes the first move.
Yes, that's right.
Takes the creep factor out of it.
When you date, is it within the industry that you find everybody pretty much?
I would love to not.
But is that where you generally everybody comes from?
Who else do I know? I don't know.
That's your world. Yeah. How do you find someone in a different world?
I don't know. I would love to meet, a public defender.
Have you considered alcoholism at all? Because it helps.
Who can't do it? Yeah.
I always said that's downtown LA was a great place to be a sad alcoholic.
Yeah,
divorced man.
Sure. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
You
walk downstairs, there's a bar.
Yeah, dozens of them.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, and just like
you just drink until you like people.
Low hanging fruit. Yeah. No, I was thinking I was also thinking, and I've been here before, or could be it.
What about parents at your kids' school? What about parents, kids' school?
Yeah, but you
like Patton?
Done.
Have you tried dating Patton?
Patton's a I know him.
Yeah. He is. He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
Soft hands.
Yeah.
Look, he's taken now.
A lot of common.
Oh, right.
A lot of common interests.
It's true. You guys do make a great couple.
I don't know. Well, in the end, we're all dead.
On the podcast reach for the sky, Dana Goldbaum.
We barely try.
This has been the Dana Gould Hour, brought to you by the Internet. Music by Andy Paley, with Jake Posner behind the board. Produced by Jeff Fox. Graphic design and web production by Spencer Hunt and Segan Friend. Sound editing and post-production by Jalinda Palmer and Joe Napolitano. Hey, if you like the show, why don't you drop us a line at show@danagould.com. Tom Kenny speaking.
I'm a DJ, I'm a person, I'm a singer, I love to sing and DJ. Boom. Pizza. You want me? Pizza. Boom.